Alrighty, folks. Oh, that's a squeaky mic. Y'all ready for a new hate stream? What is up, everybody? Welcome. Oh, I'm very zoomed in. Hold on, let me fix that. My friends, we have a special show planned for today. We're going to talk about Star Citizen and Squadron 42. But I'm not doing it alone, no. I am going to be joined by a very special guest as we talk about kind of expectations going into CitizenCon at the end of this week, with Squadron 42 being presented, with Star Citizen 1.0 being kind of presented, I guess, as where they want to take this game and go with it over time. Neither of those things are coming out anytime soon. Like, I think Squadron might come out next year, but Star Citizen 1.0 is far away. What we're getting this year, or today, or this week, is a roadmap. So we're going to talk about kind of the overall theories that have been going around about it, whether we're going to enjoy what we hear, what kind of things might be a little disappointing for people to hear, and in general, what we're excited for. With me today is the lovely, the magnificent, the magnanimous, the glorious Lord Skippy. Oh, he's just arms behind me.
Where's the camera?
It's right here.
Hi.
The camera's right here.
What's up?
Come out, get out here. Jesus, he's just hiding around. Today we're going to be having a little sit down together. And Skippy's going to be the foil, right? You hate Star Citizen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What
Huge.
a shitty scam.
There we go. Yeah, you have to do that whenever you curse.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Say it again.
No, let me do that.
Okay.
What a shitty up. That.
You got it. That's
Okay,
good.
good.
See, he's got it. He knows how to do it. All right. So, it's going to be. Oh yeah, the shirt is a Garden original design, and it just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's before we knew we were going beyond Pyro for CitizenCon, but we kind of had our expectations. So that's why obviously that exists. Let me get that started. But today, every time I do that, I'm like, please don't crash. Closer to the mic. You've got to be closer to the mic, or else they can't hear you. That's as close as you can
buttons. What does that do?
get. Which one? Deaths? Nothing. Those don't do anything right now. Yeah, unfortunately, that stuff is not working. I think our display is capped. Yep. Just putting up my script. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, it wasn't updated. Cool. So my entire script is now out there in the world for everyone to see. Awesome. I'll turn up the gain on our microphone so it comes through a little bit better for you all. Give me 1 second. So I think first we'll start today off with Squadron 42 talk, since that is a little easier to fathom. Turn the gain all the way up. There we go. Hopefully that does a little. Oh my God, that's loud. That is very loud. Maybe a little bit lower than that. All right, let's say our hellos first, shall we? You scroll back up, see who's hanging out. Yeah, Vassin always dancing.
Mrs. Tomato. Hi.
Surprise!
Damn, where are you?
Would you say where is she?
Yeah.
Oh, where could she be? I don't know. Couldn't possibly be in the other room. Welcome in, Maverick. Good to see you. PK, Rum Bandit. Welcome in, everybody. Sensei. You see how like it makes the color like so close to the color of the
I
background?
can't read anything.
Go Wookie.
There's
Nomad,
also
my
like
man.
Can you turn off these lights? It's really bright.
No, I'm sorry. That's how they see us.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's kind of required. Bright lights, you'll get used to it. Basil, how you doing? Valian, good to see you. Weslow,
Oh, Lord
the
Skippy
Dawn
is
for
there.
sure. Yeah, Lord Skippy does happen to be in the chat. There's Mrs. Tomato. You can see her leaning out from behind the doorway. Rig's in chat. I'd love to see Rig in chat. What's up, man? Maverick gifting out a sub. Appreciate you, dude. Or sorry, no, a bit. Putting a bit out there. But Sakurdu Printemps with the Prime sub. Sticking it to Jeff Bezos. That's taken from his space station you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
We get enough Prime subs, we can crash Amazon's space station. That's what I heard. That's why they do it. Fire Beans and Pacey, Flopalore and RJ Walls, Adnan. Is Chris Roberts here? Just flew out to Turkey real quick, just stopping off before CitizenCon.
Taking a dump right now.
Imagine if like it was the week before his big event, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just out on vacation in Turkey. You know, one of my many yachts that I have funded through Star Citizen's development." Bad joke. Bad joke. Madov, welcome, Azrin and Trust. Pot Pocket. How you doing? Good to see you. Drazen in chat. Nova Born in chat. Jaybird in chat. Hello, everybody. One of the fun comments we got before we got to start this stream, which I don't think I got a reply on. You can zoom through real quick and see if they stuck around. I don't think they stuck around. They just like dropped in to let us know they were unsubscribing and then left. Like the second comment that went up on the YouTube stream before it started was had to unfollow Space Tomato recently. Lots of hate streams lately and loss in quality. Sad to see. Hopefully he can find his joy again. It's true, folks. I have no joy. My joy is lost.
And now I'm here to crash your quality completely.
Gosh. Yeah. Quality. No, you're gonna raise my quality, man.
I can press more buttons if you want.
I don't know where comments like that come from, or why people jump in just to say that, but I appreciate everybody who does come from my low joy segment, my low joy phase.
Toes.
Thank you, Reese, for the sub. Appreciate you. I don't even know, like, I think the last video I put out was about the 3.24.2 update, which was excited. I'm not really sure. Either way, I speak for the majority of tomato. Oh, I speak for the majority tomato. Is that you capitalized both those things? Does that mean there is like a group called Majority Tomato that I speak for? You've heard nothing but constructive criticism, all incredibly informed with tons of context provided. Honestly, I don't. That's cool that it feels like I'm giving a lot of constructive criticism, because I feel like I generally just say what I enjoy and then not enough probably talking about what could be fixed. You're depressed, so you're here. Hey! Welcome to the Depression Show. You missed Delamar, Jaybird. We'll talk a little bit about Delamar today. I'm sure we can bring that up. We can mix that in. Yeah. Say no to Pyro. We want Nyx.
Everything is mirrored. I don't even know where I'm pointing.
It's, yeah, you gotta.
No.
I mean, it's just point to your tits.
This shit is hard.
There you go. You forget that part. Your heresy will no longer be allowed. Dude, my heresy, my hearsay, my hearer. You've been around since 2019, Jester. When did you start?
Pisces.
You keep saying that. Pisces.
That's the only thing I know. So my Star Citizen time started when I bought an old used gaming PC because I wanted to do 3D art and rendering. And then I realized, I have a gaming PC now. I could also download games.
When did you find out about Star Citizen?
After YouTube decided that it wants me to not play No Man's Sky anymore. So I downloaded No Man's Sky because I wanted, and then I googled No Man's Sky because I didn't understand the game, and then it also recommended Star Citizen to me, and it looked much better.
Yikes.
So I downloaded Star Citizen.
I don't know what the Venn diagram is for No Man's Sky or Star Citizen players, but I feel like it's just be in space.
Yes,
it's quite a difference there.
And then I saw that the Pisces was new and was on discount, and I bought the Pisces.
It's a solid shit to start on.
But I don't know what patch that was, or what year it was even.
What was your first thoughts of the game, though, when you saw it?
So, first game was, what's a rocket builder game that crashes you all the time?
Kerbal. Yeah.
So that was way too complicated.
We just watched real life Kerbal.
Yes, we did.
The SpaceX launch.
SpaceX, super heavy, amazing.
My rocket usually just tumbles end over end, but they seem to have some smart people on their team, so they actually can land something.
Just incredible. No one expected that to work.
Stack Overflow said your guest sounds pretty German. Are you faking an accent to sound more German?
Yeah, I'm trying to be undercover.
He's very good at that.
Yes.
Yeah, he's an actor.
Oh yeah.
So, like, oh yeah, that's my job. That's right. No, this is he's quite German. What'd you say?
Grew up in Germany.
Like
I moved
on a scale of like,
oh no,
not very German to like I like sausages.
No, I'm not. Like, okay, I grew up in Germany and I cannot get rid of my accent. Although I'm living in the United States for over 8 years now.
Yikes.
Absolutely no chance.
Thanks, buddy.
But apart from that, I don't like sausages. I never watch soccer.
Okay.
I hate beer.
He called it soccer. This guy is not German.
I was mixed up at
You don't
birth.
like beer?
No.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sorry.
Good thing I didn't buy a bunch of beer before you came. All right, cool. Yeah,
So
so he only
Kerbal-
sounds German.
Kerbal too complicated for me.
Yeah.
And then I went into No Man's Sky, and that was fine from a like difficulty, but it was boring after like 2-3 days. I didn't really get into it. And then Star Citizen was confusing until I found someone in global chat where I was like, "Hey, what am I doing? What is this?" And this dude was like, "Okay, where are you? I will come to you." And he flew this much bigger spaceship. What was it even?
Opened your eyes.
Cutlass. Cutlass Black.
Oh yeah, much bigger.
This dude was lowering his ramp. I was getting in. We were talking on Discord, and he was like, "Oh, when I lift off, let me open the side door." And he opened the side door from his cockpit while I was standing there, and I saw the rings of Port Olisar. While we lifted off, I was done. Like, that's my game.
Yeah, that
It
was
so good.
And that was so okay. Hold on, I need to check now. When was
Thank you.
when did
Thank
the
you very
Pisces come out? That must have been like 3.12
You're
ish.
terrible at spelling.
Thank
What
you.
is Stark Edison?
Stark Edison Pisces.
Thank you very much.
This one was launched in 3. Who can get it in chat before I find it? 3.17? Oh no, sorry, that was a downsize. Anvil Carrick promotion page.
That's not there anymore.
Offline, yeah. So I guess the Q&A would have been around that same time.
Yeah.
2019.
Okay.
Okay, so that would have been...
December.
Man, I don't know what my patches were around there. Yeah, but that would have been right after CitizenCon 2019. 3.7.
Yep, I missed CitizenCon.
Okay.
I realized that later.
So you came in around 3.7, which, like, let's go to the roadmap. I said we were going to start up talking about, man, it's not updating the screen again. I hate this capture card. There we go.
Oh.
Okay, so we said we were going to start talking about Squadron 42, but we're actually going to start with Star Citizen. Hey, you got some super chat messages, or member messages. Thank you for re-upping that membership, Wobbly Bear. What do you say?
Die geile Zimtschnecke.
I don't...
Zimtschnecke is strudel kind of thing, but smaller.
Oh.
Made out of dough, yeast dough, and cinnamon.
Okay, that sounds yummy.
Yeah, and geil is like hot or sexy. So if someone is a hot cinnamon roll.
It's got like, yeah, called you a sexy Cinnabon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically
That's like
that.
a cool name, though. I would make that my
Oh, yeah,
name on
yeah.
Twitch or something. Jay Bird, thank you as well for the membership. Said, I saw that Starship booster captured and felt like my education doesn't matter. I feel like I've never even started kindergarten. Hey, think about it this way, man. I don't know. It's pretty cool. That's all I've got. I was going to say, like, maybe when we go to space, all our educations will be better, but I can't say that.
I was sitting in the airplane, basically about to land in Istanbul, but still in the air, paid for in-flight Wi-Fi and was watching the Starship stream in the airplane. And then people suddenly wondered why I was yelling and grinning so much. I was like, I didn't care
like,
anymore.
We
I was like, look at that!
We caught a rocket! And they're like, yeah, but we're landing in a plane, dude. It's pretty, it's cool too, okay? I'm gonna turn down our gain just a little bit. There we go. All right, let me know if we are still doing... Let me know how we're doing in terms of guest volume. Just making sure it doesn't like blow you guys away or anything. So, Star Citizen 3.7 had the Pisces. This is around when you started. After that, we got, in terms of feature additions, we saw some AI ship improvements, additions to the look-ahead camera and the third-person camera. We got the rescue hijacked 890 jump mission, a classic. That's a good one. That's a good mission to run. Different mining lasers, close quarters combat, the Argo Mole, planetary weather effects. We didn't even have clouds yet. This was the launch of Planetech V4, and server-side object container streaming. Like this feels like ages ago. And if you look at the other features that we were getting around this time, the prison system, I don't even remember the game before prison. But like we were getting such basic stuff at this time.
Yeah.
Friends list refactor. Oh god. Like
But what I remember most of the time, like persistence wasn't in.
Yeah.
So there were 30k and you were gone. You started from scratch. All your stuff was back at your home base.
yeah.
And that made the game amazing to me back then. Because
Kind of roguelike.
I was running cargo missions. And the thrill was, will the server crash before I get there or not? Do I lose all my money or not? And that, like this bug
How
alone.
fun.
No, seriously, I loved that. It was the excitement of, will the server crash or not?
All right, so
Will I
if you're
lose
looking
this
for
million?
like the people who are excited for this to become a game, don't look for him. He's
30K
like, yes,
for
is the
fine.
whole infrastructure going to collapse on me or not? Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I missed 30k.
Lord.
Come on.
Oh god. So those were the kinds of things being discussed back then, like super basic things. Too quiet now? Okay. Thank you. I will I'll get that updated for you. Boost it just a little bit. Boost. Yeah, so that's where things were back then. And like since then, they've continued to just sort of add incremental stuff. Some of it's pretty good. Some of it has done some work at like making the game actually play better. Things like the reputation system kind of added in some progression. Obviously work on the mining systems was nice. We started to get more like capital ship battles with the Idris and the Javelins coming in during some of the events. The multi-tool, obviously, with the tractor beam was a really big kind of gameplay addition that helped out. And then you got some stuff like, I guess power management wasn't a huge thing with the triangle. That was sort of incremental. But a lot of these things that were added during this time period of just 3.8 and above, and even before 3.8, was just so much treading water. You know, it was a lot of adding things so that there were more things in the game to do, but not necessarily. Like, did you ever feel like we were headed towards Star Citizen proper?
I didn't know what that was at the time.
Well, do you know what that is now?
Well, fair. So my worst financial decision in my entire life so far, and I made a couple of bad ones. I saw the advertisement for the Pioneer back then, and I loved that ship from the like. Do you remember the advertisement?
Oh
Was it
yeah,
on stage.
I remember
and
it
whatnot?
well. Yeah.
So well done. So I wanted that ship, but I realized it's not available in the store anymore. I was like, oh no, I missed out. So
They FOMO'd you.
yes,
Did you
absolutely.
get it?
I went to eBay and wired $1,000
Oh
to a random person in Japan, and was like, hopefully he is not a scammer.
Skippy.
And I got the Pioneer. I was like, yes, I have the Pioneer now. So how do I fly it? And then I realized it's not in game yet.
Skippy.
So that was me back then.
How often do you think that happens? How often do you think people are spending money on this game without realizing they're not even spending money on a game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That happens.
And like, what would have stopped you from doing that?
If someone would have told me the ship is not in game yet.
Right, but so trying to figure out like where in the presentation did they not say that?
In the advertisement on YouTube, no.
Oh yeah, the ship trailer. Ship trailers
and then
for
it was obviously
concept ships is just not
Wow.
good practice.
It was so cool. Then on the website, obviously it wasn't there to purchase. So
Right.
they couldn't tell me that it's not in game yet.
Right. So they didn't scam you. Somebody else did.
Well, on the eBay page, it sounded like the ship is there. They had all the pictures of the ship from the concept art and whatnot.
Then the person on eBay was like, "Yeah, man, base building. Just imagine this and this and that."
Well, not really. It was like 2 sentences.
That's all it takes, huh?
Yeah.
Can I give you 2
$1,000?
sentences and you'll pass me $1,000?
Sure.
Yeah?
If you get a JPEG back, then
Okay. I'll get working on that then. I'll come up with a pretty good JPEG.
But then on the other hand, the system CIG has in place where you can mail the ship and use the store credit to get other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have the $1,000 store credit, so
Right.
I can mail something, get something else, and try stuff out. So it makes it pretty nice to just test different stuff and see what I like. And
There is at least a solid system in being able to, like, if you do spend money on something, you can put it towards something else. But
Yeah.
that must be like that's kind of a problem, you know?
Sure.
That's possible. But that was, you were also just kind of excited for the idea without knowing exactly what was going to happen with it, right? Like they sold the ship, but you didn't really know what base building was going to be.
They sold base building to me. The ship is ugly. Where was this one?
Yeah.
The ship is ugly as but
I heard you say the bad word.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I've been ruined.
So they didn't sell me on the ship itself. They sold me on an idea that eventually I can retire in game, build a nice house at a lake, and be there. That sounded cool to me. And it felt more realistic than they did at No Man's Sky, where you're just like, I don't know, in the air, I want a wall here, and then the wall appeared. Somehow, it during the advertisement, it felt more real. They made a really good job of like physicalizing the base building aspect.
Good marketing
with a big ship that creates something, 3D prints something. So I can't like wish a base out of thin air. I have to get something and actually build it. That was cool. I like that.
What year was that?
I don't know. There. Like when
Okay,
I got the
like
Pisces.
2020,
Like basically a
2019,
month
okay.
after I got the Pisces, I bought a Pioneer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So outside of the Pioneer, moving forward, you still didn't really feel like you knew what the game was, and you said like right now even you still don't, right?
It took me a while to realize that the game is supposed to be way different when it's finished than what we were playing right then.
How did you find that out? Or how'd you
Watching
come across
videos
that?
from
Okay.
content creators like Space Tomato.
So it's just not, it's not really clear when you got into Star Citizen that what we were playing right now was just sort of something to play and not actually a game.
Where it was an open sandbox, I knew it wasn't finished, but the not being finished part for me for a long time was it's still buggy. Not there's still stuff missing. Sure, there was a planet missing, but I got the planet in. Sure, there's a star system missing, so there will be a couple of more star systems, but I never played games before really, except for like maybe Command & Conquer 10 years earlier, stuff like that.
Okay, so this got you into gaming.
Basically, yes.
I see.
And MMOs, for example. I've never played an MMO before. I didn't know what an MMO was. I wasn't that interested in other players being around in the first place. I wanted to build my base somewhere. That was cool.
Yeah, I get that. I'm mostly a single player. This is the first MMO I've played. Not played. I played, God, what was it? I think it was like Phantasy Star Online on Xbox 360 for a bit.
What that is.
That's an old one. Little bit of RuneScape here and there, and then Eve for like 2 weeks. Funny thing is, back in 2009, I played Eve, and I was like, wow, I am too far behind this. There's no way I'm gonna be able to like join this game and be a productive part of the universe. I might as well give up since it's the game. It's already old, and here we are, like 15 years later, and it's still being played. But yeah, I think that is a problem for this game, that it is not super clear to people that the game isn't done. But I also think that's what makes this idea of presenting Star Citizen 1.0 so important, outside of the idea that it's just to build hype or to make people think that it is going to happen soon, or that it is like just around the corner. More so, they need to explain to people what this game is supposed to be. Because I don't even know, right? I freaking follow this game daily. It breaks my brain, dude. It cracks me in half, but I still don't have a full picture. Nobody has a full picture of how this game is actually supposed to play.
CIT is changing their plan as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like the game that they have planned for right now is different than it was 6 years ago. And they've got all these things that they've been working on, but my opinion is that the 3.x branch of updates, all this stuff that we're looking at here, was basically just to keep the treadmill going. This is all just treading water. Yeah, it has some good productive stuff in there that like helped the game move forward and made for some fun things to do. But overall, I think their whole goal with the 3.x cycle of updates was just to make sure there was a PU for people to play until they could actually start building the game.
But they were also trying to get persistence in there, like iCache.
Yeah.
I remember iCache and the big hype about iCache. and then it never came. And then they had the next system that never came, and then finally they have the database now that actually performs well enough.
The entity graph, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. Like, they were focused on building the back end and working on Squadron 42. The stuff they were giving us was like, don't get me wrong, good for testing and good for getting alpha features in to make sure they worked before they moved on to more of like the game development. But it definitely feels to me like they're only just starting to get the real game started since like last year, maybe the early last year, as they started to add things like the like the character customizer. That was the first. No, like getting the flight model into a better place that makes sense for their long-term goals, like actually getting the front end and the tutorial stuff in a place where players can kind of have some help getting started in the game. Things like building out the cargo, the multi-crew experience, the kind of the Planet Tech ability to create star systems. All this stuff feels like it's starting to add into a system that means more of a game is the focus as opposed to just treading water until the tech can catch up.
It's also scary from their point of view to release more and more features on a backend system that is not final, and where they know, okay, we have to scrap everything from our backend and start over because this one is not working, the next one doesn't seem to work either. And then they have all these gameplay systems developed that they know they have to refactor to work with a new backend.
Yeah.
And the more they release to people in terms of gameplay, the more they have to rework later.
So do you think that they've been stalling on releasing a lot more gameplay stuff until they could figure that out?
Absolutely, yeah.
So does that mean the floodgates are going to open?
Well, maybe, depends. They have so much tech debt to catch up on.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of relieved they didn't do engineering and hacking gameplay on an old backend, because then they would have to rework the system again, taking twice as long in total. So stalling on these systems until they had the graph database, I think is a pretty good idea.
But so that's an interesting take, because a lot of people will say things like just fix everything that's in the game and then work on the other stuff later. Like, what do you think of that? If they had gotten everything figured out, they made sure that all the things work exactly as they're supposed to before server meshing was done, so that then when server meshing was finished, everything was good to go.
Well, good to go is once server meshing is in, all the systems will break because they were made for a different backend. If they had fixed all the, like if they had hacking in and fixed that, and engineering in and fixed that, and everything was fine, just not with server meshing, just with a small server, 50 people, one solar system, and then they bring the graph database in and server meshing, they have to rework everything, although it was already polished. Mm-hmm. And that would add years to the entire project.
I mean, we kind of see that with the mission system and transit system refactor, right?
Yeah.
If they had done those earlier, then they'd have to do it yet again now for the server meshing. Yeah, and on top of the whole treading water thing, I think that's kind of part of it too, is like would building a game have been worth it before the back end was working correctly? I don't know. As a like non-game dev, I do not know, but I can sympathize with the idea of not wanting to make everybody go through all of the work to do it yet again afterward. Like the mission system and transit systems are something that was put in 3.0 back in 2018. Would it have been better for them to do something in the interim that would have lasted 5 years to make the last 5 years better, to redo it again now? Or should they have just waited until now? It's like a big what if.
Or just teleport people, fast travel instead of transit, stuff like that.
Ka-chow.
So they're very easy basic systems that just work, and then bring all the trams and elevators in once they have the backend.
Kind of like the idea of creating what Star Citizen was originally supposed to be, and then starting on an entirely different game that would launch, like, I guess not right now, but like, what if they had made Star Citizen what they said was going to be in 2013, and then released that in 2017, and then started on the actual this
2.0. Let's talk about Star Citizen 2.0.
Yeah, screw 1.0. So let's talk about 1.0, because the whole idea here is that They are making changes. They're going to be adding features. Like if you go back in time to their original design documents and you look at some of the things that they were saying for this stuff, it's pretty freaking wild.
I've never ever seen this website.
No?
What is that?
This is they have a bunch of design documents from a long time ago. This is 2015. And this is like them laying out the more advanced forms of the gameplay they've talked about. And I don't
how do you find that? Do you Google it, or is there like a link on the website that brings you to
so
the
like
design
if you
documents?
if you go through to their website, go to the com links, to all their blog posts, you can pick from here,
Okay.
like what you want to see. If you click on engineering and then search, it'll give you a whole bunch of, you have to see, this is a terrible search system. Look at how far you have to scroll back.
But there's no page that says this is a design document. That is how we intend the game to be.
Not until you find one of them.
Okay.
So like here, design notes, electronic warfare. Once I click into this,
Okay.
then I can scroll down to the bottom. Oh no, this isn't even one of them. See, yeah, so there's
Okay,
not
yeah.
really a way to find these. And that's why you can always look at these pages of things that they've talked about they want to have in this game. But at the end of the day, there's no easy way to find this information. And having a presentation in CitizenCon called 1.0 is how you present this to normal people that aren't like banging their heads against the website to try and find every bit of information. There's so much to be said about electronic warfare, from scanning people to EMPs to data spikes, distortion damage, chaff, decoy missiles, all this kind of stuff might not go into the game exactly as it's written down here, but if you follow these documents, you can see them following some of these let's see, what's something that they've done recently? Cargo?
Yep.
So like if you go to,
But this needs to be a PDF document at the front page. This is the game we want to design.
Yeah.
Do you want to back us?
yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard to get this information out. So you can click on, here's one like careers and roles. The most simple kind of idea. This lays out the different types of careers they want to have in Star Citizen: combat, transport, exploration, industrial, support, competition. It shows you the classes of ships they want to break things out into. And of course, some of this is probably outdated.
Agriculture. That's for the garden.
Yeah, that's us.
Nice.
Yeah. There we are. And then you scroll down to here and you can find other stuff like here's SCU and cargo. So you can go through and you can look at how cargo works, how mass works, how they want to split up the cargo boxes, how it's supposed to function in different ships, cargo on the cargo grids, all this kind of stuff.
When is this from?
This one is from 2017. They did this from like 2013 through 2018.
That is like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But the interesting part is that they kind of follow this stuff to an extent, not completely. Right,
but
here,
that's
there's something
impressive.
else.
Like after 7 years,
Yeah.
still holding on to that idea.
So like here, this is kind of how you learn about what hover mode is going to be, which is kind of like they use the heat system plus a combination of control surfaces plus the fact that certain thrusters are going to maneuvering thrusters won't have the ability to sustain thrust. So then you learn that VTOL thrusters actually hold ships up more in gravity compared to maneuvering thrusters, which are used for maneuvering in space and stuff. And it kind of lays that sort of thing out for you. But again, that's like, I mean, one of the most important things in this game is picking a ship for what you want to do. Yep. If you wanted to fly cargo everywhere, you wouldn't have to focus on VTOL thrusters if you're only staying in space. And some people just want to fly cargo from space station to space station.
Sure.
But they won't know that VTOL thrusters don't really matter to them if they don't get told that kind of information. So it's just like, I don't know, that stuff is kind of annoying to me. Can I dump the URL? I can. Yeah, I'll just dump one of these URLs and then you guys can spaghetti search all the rest of them from there.
Did that work?
Pick a ship off of what looks cooler.
That looks super weird there.
Whoa, look at that. What the heck? This is a crazy link.
What is going on?
What is that?
I wonder remove the question mark. Yeah, maybe it just works.
How about that? Yeah, just that works. Okay,
Nice.
I will drop that link for you all.
Pretty sure the rest is your Google authorization cookie.
Oh, that's good. I'm sure that's good information for me to just put out on the internet. Stranger Danger Explain. This is Lord Skippy. He came out to visit us before CitizenCon. He's part of our org, part of our community. And you'll see him as a mod in our stream as well. And he's wearing our shirt.
And I can't deal with this camera mirror. How?
It's not mirrored.
It's not?
No, it says that they can read it.
Can I read
Look
it?
at that.
I can read
Look
it.
at that one.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not mirrored.
Yeah.
And there are so many screens and so many buttons here. You have no idea.
It's a whole thing. It's still just all features, not the core gameplay. Yes, that's why they need to have a Star Citizen 1.0 speech, so they can talk about the core gameplay. I will say they have stuff about that, like mining is part of the core gameplay, I would say. There's a really good one on repair, which kind of links into engineering. It links into just a whole bunch of stuff, and it sort of shows, I think, what they're looking to accomplish maybe with the Maelstrom system. I mean, they've talked about things like, getting the actual materials from ships and from things that are made in the game. So if you were to salvage a ship and break it down to its components, those components can then be sold for base building and crafting. Like,
I'm learning so much.
Ships might be made of titanium, and when you salvage that ship, you would receive titanium back rather than just the construction materials, I think they call it right now, which again is just a placeholder that they put in with 3.x level of updates.
Where's your plus? What is this keyboard?
It's a Turkish keyboard. So yeah, I mean, and again, this might not be what actually comes with the game. This is why, if you read these, whether you read these or whether you don't, when they talk about Star Citizen 1.0, you can both be disappointed that it comes to reality that they cannot do all of the stuff they say in documents like this. It can also be disappointing in the fact that they are going to try and do stuff similar to this. Because, like, this is a lot, and some people don't want the game to get that complex. Some people do want it to get that complex. Whatever they end up doing with their talk at Star Citizen 1.0, it's not going to be both of those things, and it probably won't be either one. It'll be somewhere in the middle. So that's why when I say, are we going to hate Star Citizen 1.0, I don't mean are we going to actually hate it. Like, a lot of people who are psyched for this game will find something they enjoy in whatever they try to say is going to be 1.0. But I do think there will be disappointments for everybody watching, because there's just so much information that they've put out, they can't possibly meet all of this information.
And no one knows how arcadey or how complex which system is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's what they're deciding, I think, for 1.0.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing that's what they must have decided it by now, or else it's going to be an awkward talk. Hey, everybody, we want to talk about Star Citizen 1.0 today in this panel, but for the next 2 hours, we're going to tell you about how we thought about it and couldn't really come up with something, so we'll just take some questions. Okay, cool.
Oh, that would be so nice. They don't take questions usually, do they?
Dude, imagine.
I would love that.
Like, just imagine, though, if they... we'd be sitting there forever.
Like, every con has, like, a row of people waiting into microphones, and then they take 10 questions.
They used to do it back before, like, 2018, I think.
Okay.
And then they realized the more they answer questions, the bigger hole they dig themselves into
Fair,
before
yes.
the code is down. And yeah, like they...
When is that coming out?
This is like the...
Next year.
10 with the chairman. They would take questions, and then Chris would answer them, and he'd just talk
No.
about...
Chris should not answer questions.
Yeah. And they'd be like, okay, let's write this down for in 10 years when we might possibly be able to do it. Yeah. Repair looks interesting. Repair does look interesting. And I think this is like... I did a video on this earlier this year about Maelstrom. The Maelstrom system, I think, is what's going to make this at least kind of possible. And they haven't talked about it much because, again, I think... all of this kind of stuff is what they've reserved for the final point at which they could actually work on the real game they want to have, and also not work on Squadron 42 all the time.
So that's the only thing we have right now, isn't it? The field repair? Multi-tool?
Yeah, we have some component damage, so they're starting to get into this. Like,
yeah.
And again, we can see that they're following this stuff. They've talked about capacitors. They've talked a little bit about things like heat sinks. We've got our coolers, obviously, power conduits, you can say is your power supply or your relays that they have now.
And that's all 2017, 2018?
Oh, this is earlier. This is 2015.
Damn.
You got your module racks here. They talk about components on larger ships that would require a large number of subcomponents to function. And you can go back in the footage that we have. And you can look at, I think fuses are considered subcomponents, but we also have some displays of subcomponents they've shown us in the past. So here's some animations that they had with NPCs accessing subcomponents. I don't think this is from too long ago either. This is from 2021, yeah. And the idea being that this is a power supply or something here, and you've got subcomponents inside of it, and the NPC is supposed to take it out, inspect it. You can tell those are kind of like fuses. So some of this stuff is stuff that they've stuck to. They just haven't fully fleshed out. And
well, but now the big question is, for repair alone, they won't have all of this in for 1.0.
I don't know. No, that's why they've got to give us a presentation on it.
But exactly, like there are like 20 of these documents. They're all highly detailed, and the work that needs to be done to get all of this in is another 10 years.
It's gargantuan.
Yes.
Right.
So
you could go to like passenger transport when people are like, why would I care what kind of ship I fly? Why would I care if I have an origin ship? And you scroll through this and they talk about how there will be a reputation system. They talk about how there are going to be affinities, likes, and dislikes that NPCs have that would make them decide on different types of ships, which they talked about with the quantum simulation. All this kind of stuff is stuff that they've stuck to sort of doing. But yeah, I don't think, a lot of this could possibly just not make it in for 1.0. And there's the disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. But it comes with the promise there will be a 2.0 with more systems coming online over the next 5 years and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think this is 1.0 that's a basic viable game that's playable.
Yeah.
Means that they're done.
Yeah, no, of course not. No, it's definitely a minimal viable product. It is there. Oh crap, we need to make a game kind of target, as opposed to we're gonna make the game, we're gonna launch it. It's what people think Star Citizen is now. A lot of people think Star Citizen is made to play, get started on your character, on your universe, and do all your stuff, and then we will throw in updates that add more functionality. But until they stop wiping the game, until we're guaranteed that there are no more progress wipes, that the ship that you earn, the things that you earn, there's no way you'll lose them unless you lose them in game, that's when 1.0 hits. And I think that's the target they're going to set here. Yeah. Not necessarily that we're done developing kind of stuff. But you look at this.
That's a point where I start hate the game. Because I crash my ship all the time, and then it's gone.
Me too, dude. I hate losing. Nah, I can't wait for that, man. I cannot wait for that. I'm tired of not playing this game seriously, and that's partially on my own. But so then there's this kind of stuff, looking at how cargo interaction is going to work. A lot of this is like outdated videos. This is again 2015. So some of this is outdated. Grabby hands.
It's 5 years ago.
It's like kind of
10 years ago.
Yeah. It's like 5. But when you scroll down, you'll see that they start talking about things like, palleting up boxes, moving them yourself, doing stuff in the cargo bay that requires some physical interaction. And it's like, these are the things that if they had these easily available to find, or in some kind of video that talks about the end goal, there wouldn't be waves upon waves of people getting pissed when 324 comes in and changes the way cargo works. And I think they need to put something out about Star Citizen 1.0 and the direction they're going in, so that that specific thing stops happening, so that people who don't want this game don't get roped into it and then find out it's something different. People who do want this game realize that they can depend on it going in that direction.
So show me what base building is going to be.
They didn't make one on that.
No.
They did not make one on that. That base building is one of the biggest signs of feature creep this game has ever had, because you can't find documentation on it, and it wasn't formally introduced as an idea, besides maybe some like Q&A somewhere. It wasn't formally introduced until the Pioneer.
Okay.
That was, so that was like big feature creep.
But these documents already are based on the ideas that you can land anywhere on any planet and No,
that's why they exist, because a lot of these were figured out before planetary. Like, that's why base building is that way, because it came about after Planet Tech kind of... Like, these were written around the time that Planet Tech was being done, but they didn't depend on Planet Tech like base building does. So you don't really see references to that kind of stuff. You go into the mining one, I think we already scrolled through this actually, but they talk about things in here that people want to see. Like, where is it? I think it's this laser seismometer thing. Shows you the individual tremor within an asteroid as well as the superposition of the various waves. It also shows the vibrational threshold, these freaking words they choose, the vibrational thresholds for any seismically sensitive materials contained within the asteroid.
I love that, because that's scientific.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And they're getting away from that slowly. I don't like that.
It's very freaking
I want
sick.
superpositions.
So, like, are they going to change mining to represent asteroids as a material that you have to break through with nuance, or just something that you heat up and explode? That's what 1.0 needs to tell us. Are you going to keep going towards this direction, or are you going to stick with kind of what you put in as your placeholder 3.x implementation? Because the Orion needs something, right? That makes it special. Needs something that makes it better than the Mole and the Prospector. Because imagine if it was just a bigger version of a Mole.
But they won't get the Orion in for 1.0. I don't think so.
Maybe not.
And
it'd be really cool.
Mining is...
The ship.
Yeah, it is. It is dope. Why is it mixing, though?
Dude, because it's cool.
Also, it's like, if two spin in one direction and only one spins in the other, it will get some... That's not good. It's not balanced.
What is this concept?
But mining kind of works. I think, like, I'm not a miner, so maybe I offend everyone who's really industrial out there, but I think mining is at a good point right now, isn't it?
I mean, it's good for what the game is right now, but if they really want to have a game where each gameplay segment is providing people with hundreds of hours of stuff, it needs to be deeper than it is right now, you know?
Yeah.
What we have right now is good for where we are, but it's definitely got to continue.
Is anyone using these things that I can plug on an asteroid and make it easier to break? They have these, I don't know, attachment thingies to asteroids that you can tune.
The gadgets.
Yes. Are these used?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they get used. I mean, from people that I hear do mining, they definitely still help.
Okay.
Here's another big one that I'm sure is going to come up at this talk. Oh my god. This talk is from 2013, and this is like a really divisive part of this game and the idea behind it. What do you know about Death of a Spaceman?
Okay, so you die, you lose health, that is permanent. Like, if you injure your arm too often, then at some point your arm is dead and you get a replacement arm. So, like, injuries carry over during respawn, I guess. But at some point you're out of lives and your DNA degraded too much. If you don't go to a specialized doctor or researcher to fix you up, you die. And then you become your own daughter, son, whatever. Get some part of what you owned before. I guess there's like inheritance tax as a money sink.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it. The thing is, and I can see it happening in chat, people consider that Death of a Spaceman as one solid target and not like a spectrum of possibilities.
What's launching?
Launch.
What did launch?
Watch now. Launch.
Oh, no. Seriously? Clipper launch?
Mission.
Nice. Turn it on.
No, we're in the middle of a topic.
No, but it's a Falcon Heavy.
I mean,
like
we'll watch the recording later.
I'm living in Florida, and I'm working at the university, and basically my entire lab, all the students are did drive down to the Kennedy Space Center to watch this mission in person. So they're standing there at the beach right now watching.
That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we started a topic, and I can't just switch.
Oh, come on.
Switch pages immediately.
Keep me updated on this.
How about we open a tab, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. What is the mission?
X.com. Or go to the SpaceX website. Oh, this works. Yeah, that's fine. NASA spaceflight is nice.
All right.
No. Yes. What is that?
This is an ad.
Why do you have ads?
Because I'm on the wrong browser.
Oh, wait. Full screen.
No!
They're about to separate the boosters.
Ay. This is why I don't have guests.
Sorry.
Leave this down here in the corner.
Oh, wait, booster separation.
I love real space flight as much as the next person, but we're talking about fake make-believe space flight right now. All right, so Death of a Spaceman is not a single thing. It's a spectrum. It's meant to...
What?
It's just SC lore in real life. Yeah, I mean, we're just following the...
Do you know what this mission is for?
Going to Jupiter?
Moon of Jupiter. Trying to find out if there are the basic elements for life in the water plumes that are coming from the liquid ocean under the ice of the moon. So basically they want to find space dolphins.
I mean, space dolphins sound pretty cool.
Yep.
If they do find that, then I will be much more interested. No, it's cool. It's cool. I'm glad that we're like in the age of launching missions regularly again.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I remember growing up that was kind of a thing in the 90s, but it really died down for a while.
There's basically a launch from Florida every second day now.
Yeah.
Yep. Separation coming up.
All right, we'll full screen the separation.
Fully expendable, unfortunately, so the boosters are not returning to the launch site. And the center core either, because it needs all the power it can get to get out to Jupiter.
He works on space missions. That's why he...
Nice.
That was hot.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy.
He got his moment. Feeling good now?
Yeah, it's all good. But that was nice.
All right. So, Death of a Spaceman, you talked about quite a bit of it. The idea that... So it's not just permadeath. It's easy to summarize it up as permadeath because that's a word that everybody understands. It's hard to summarize this all up into one word. But overall, the idea behind it is that your body in the game is a physical thing that has wear and tear. That's what I get from it. You can completely remove the idea that death is not important. You can say, oh yeah, we can respawn in our ships, we can respawn in the Nursa, we can respawn anywhere we want, our lives are unlimited. That doesn't really matter. What matters is that the damage you take from dying carries over, like you said. So if you are going through a lot of pain and suffering, let's say you are standing next to a mining rock that you explode and it obviously knocks you out. You are doing some salvage and you set off a salvage charge in the ship and it blasts you out into space. These kinds of things do damage to your body. If enough damage is done, even when you get regenerated, eventually you have to do something to make up for that damage. And we've seen already the work that they... Jesus, I am bad at typing, huh? We've already seen the work that they've done to try and emphasize that this will be something you have to account for. They're working on cybernetics
So cool.
because as you respawn, if your body becomes too abused over time, you might have to replace your arm, or you might have to replace your leg, or you might have to, I don't know, get something that makes up for that. It doesn't mean that you're going to be extra strong or something like that.
That's a Drake leg.
No, they've got the Drake components here. You got like some nice stuff, right?
Yeah.
I love this one. It's the real Deus Ex. Here's the Drake stuff.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you
nice,
go.
nice.
That's what you want right there. You want those creaks. You want to catch that wire on the side of the doorway and lose complete mobility of your arm. Perfect. But yeah, the point is to try and add value to the life of your character, and you can actually go to the regeneration, Ibrahim spheres, the whole thing that they have for this. They released back when it started. Why would somebody who's playing for the combat care about a loss of money, rep, etc.? Why would that upset them? Why would somebody who's playing for combat care about loss of money or rep? Well, that sounds like a question that the Star Citizen devs need to answer. The Death of a Spaceman is permadeath where you create a new character that inherits stuff from the old character. Terrible idea for an MMO. Did you just ignore the... Did I not just say that wasn't the case?
Well, they don't inherit everything, I guess, but some.
it's also not just permadeath. Like we're literally we're talking about how it's not just permadeath.
Yeah, it's not the moment you die you respawn as your inheritant.
Yeah.
But how often you can die, that's still an open question.
The whole thing behind this is like what Time said in chat. It's very altered carbon in a sense, in that your soul, kind of your memories are transferred, but your body is not, sort of thing. If you go down into here and you look at some of this is a lore document, so it's not necessarily going to drive the gameplay 100%. But there's somewhere in here where they talk about the idea that, let's see, if a person's legs are crushed prior to death, there's a possibility that an echo will be created that will alter the imprint so that the individual's legs are no longer functional. So that's the kind of thing that they're kind of depending on to say you need to get cybernetics. But then there's also, was there a Q&A section on here?
But yeah, I wonder, like, a big part of the game that is fun to me is just toying around in the sandbox, jumping around one ship to the other in atmosphere, and then obviously you drop off and die. But will that take away from that because you have to be so careful? If the consequences are so...
That's a thing. So, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's here? Is this it? They talked about how you're not just going to have... God, this is why this 1.0 talk is so important. So let's say that they do limit lives, yeah? They say you have 11 lives on a character. You can lose them, and then you pass that stuff down to another character, which for some people might matter, for some people it might not. But if you do like to be less careful about life, and I don't remember where they said this, you also can get imprints back. You can find technology, and this kind of makes for a really good incentive for research.
Absolutely,
they could make a super in-depth and difficult research project where if you do the right research, you can create more imprints that gives yourselves more lives for that specific character. There's also...
Like, next time I die, I get my arm back, or will I be just a robot at that point with a head?
Yeah, or can I make it all the way to 14 lives instead of 9?
Yeah.
Like that, there's more gameplay aspects that you can introduce into the game if you use the system.
Just imagine the implications to machinima. If I have this one scene where this person needs to die and I need to shoot it 10 times before I get it.
I mean, in that case, I think it'd be a good idea to have, like, if they can let an account have multiple avatars,
yeah,
so that or even buy just a second account. If you don't care about that avatar, then you don't care if you eventually have a permadeath.
Well, but if after dying I get this artificial arm, then the scene is ruined because there's no continuity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So there are a lot of ramifications that come with something like that, but do you sacrifice the gameplay possibilities of that for machinima?
No, maybe there needs to be a machinima mode and a screenshot mode for people who just want to do sandboxing.
What about, and I always felt like this made the most sense for their promise of having private servers, what if you just had the ability to do Arena Commander servers that were free play?
Yeah.
If they continue to expand Arena Commander to include mining, salvage, free play, large areas of planets where you could just be in a server that's controlled. It's not tied into the economy. It's not tied into simulation.
Now imagine you have to log into the permanent universe first and then go to your HEP where you have to buy your sim pod with in-game money so you're allowed to unlock this game mode. That would be dope.
Don't you all love speculation? This is why they stopped doing 10 for the chairman, because people would say stuff like this and he'd be like, you know what?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you put that in there and then you can add this. Oh, great. Yes, let's do it. Write something down. Chris. This is Idon he's drinking, by the way. I saw somebody ask if it was milk.
So good. Yeah, the tomatoes have a goat downstairs in the basement. So that's freshly goat milk.
Hey. How is it not permadeath? I'm not saying it's not permadeath. I'm saying it's not only permadeath.
It's not only permadeath.
That's, I don't know how else to say that other than breaking your eardrums. I'm sorry. There is more to Death of a Spaceman, and maybe they need to change it from saying death so that it doesn't necessarily just say death, than just the aspects of death. It's also about the ideas of how much damage your body is taking. You don't necessarily have to die, you can be knocked unconscious and still have ramifications that have to do with this whole regeneration lore and imprints and stuff like that. The mini deaths that we're talking about aren't the permadeath. The permadeath, or when your character dies, would come after you go through many different of these mini death kind of things.
I wonder if that, like they talked about, if your legs are getting crushed before death, then you wake up with artificial legs. I wonder if your head is getting crushed before you die, then it's done. Something like that.
Yeah. How do you retain the memory of the body you just lost? They say something about that here.
Yeah, that's a sphere thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Ibrahim sphere. Ibrahim! Let's see. The term of complete and holistic bioscan of an individual... Hold on, no, there's got to be... Okay, here we go. Ibrahim sphere. The end result of years of research and the creation of advanced xenomorphic materials inspired by the captured Vandal technology. Look at us.
That's not
benefiting from the
okay.
Vandal. The innovative Ibrahim
us.
sphere allows for complete biogenic imprints to be made of a person far beyond just DNA and mental scans. The imprint captures a complete version of someone, including their memories and even their personality. The most surprising thing, however, is that the imprint does not remain static after it's made.
There was, up there was another part of Ibrahim sphere. There.
Here?
Yeah.
Technology inside medical beds and scanners that allows them to create and store imprints made out of advanced materials that are alien in origin. The technology behind the spheres was made public to encourage mass production and development. It is important to note that not all spheres are created equal. Higher quality spheres are better able to preserve imprints and cause less trauma during the regeneration process, allowing for more cycles before viability failure. There you go.
No more spawn at Grimhex.
So there you go. They're building into the lore the idea that where you do your respawning and stuff, and the if you have Trauma Team Platinum, maybe you have more
better
cycles.
insurance, medical insurance.
Yeah, so they call them cycles rather than deaths.
But the sphere is not like in Altered Carbon, a thing that I have in my brainstem that's built into the medical beds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imprint viability score is the number used to rate the viability of an imprint to be used in regeneration. Owing to the degradation experienced from echoes, imprints eventually become so damaged they are no longer viable, and the individual will no longer be able to be regenerated. That's your permadeath. That's where it is.
But I can't redo the scan?
Technically, you're redoing the scan, I think, every time.
Okay, but it degrades.
Yeah.
Either way.
Every time you're doing it, it's degrading.
That's a scary thought, though. So it means that if you die once, you're being regenerated, but there's some faults in the regeneration process.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I wouldn't trust any of these companies to regenerate.
But the more often you do that, the more messed up your brain gets until the point where you're not viable anymore. But that means that at some point my character is so bad and so broken down that I want to die because I'm not really functioning in game anymore.
Way to be dark.
No, but seriously.
Yeah.
I have a limp and I can't see anymore, and I'm also like my IQ dropped by 200 points. And
Yeah, so that's called a wipe, term used to express when someone's IVS is low enough that they can no longer be regenerated. The term originated from references to an imprint being permanently wiped from an Ibrahim sphere. Outlaws will sometimes refer to wiping someone as killing them in a manner that will stop them from regenerating.
okay.
Also can be referred to as ghosting. And then they say here in the cycle that it references the period between regenerations. People will ask each other what cycle they are on to inquire how many times they have been regenerated. People are sometimes impressed by how long others have gone without needing a regen. Honestly, this would be cool even if it wasn't a gameplay mechanic, because it adds so much to like what are the NPCs talking about when you run into them? What kind of things do they say on a mission? Like, hey, I'm this person, head of this gang, and I've only been through 3 cycles, kind of thing.
Cool cultural,
Yeah,
right there,
like it adds. These are the sorts of things I think really help an IP over a long period of time that might not really matter that much right now, and we just want a game to play.
Also imagine people on a high cycle, how careful and scared they must be.
Yeah.
In lore.
Yeah.
Because they're gone.
Yeah, this is something that we hear, like they used in Cyberpunk. In missions, they would talk about like the people who maybe are the people who did, what's it called, brain dances.
Never played so.
Oh, okay. They have this thing where basically you can have something in your head that records the emotions, the visibility, the smells, all the senses of somebody, and then it can be ejected, and you can actually read it through a machine and watch what they call a brain dance.
First person.
Yeah, to experience it all. I feel like those are the kinds
of privacy at all.
But I feel like those are the kinds of little bits of interesting lore that can complicate the gameplay more with stuff like this. Like, what if we run into something like this in a side mission in Squadron, where it's all based around the idea of somebody on a late cycle and they need something specific done, and they need like you to find some research or some kind of crafting material that can help them repair their Ibrahim sphere. I like that kind of stuff. But
orc missions. Like, imagine you have orc members on a high cycle.
Yeah.
And then the orc coming together and trying to give them more regeneration cycles.
Yeah. It's ultimately, I don't know what they're going to do with this, but this ties very closely into the idea of Death of a Spaceman, which at the end of the game, at the end of the day, is about degradation, it's about wear and tear on your body, and it's about going through these cycles. And it was interestingly inspired by Demon Souls, which is not something where you would expect. And it also has some references to EVE Online too, which I think has like cloning. I love this reference here. Shows how far they've come in sort of changing the game. In EVE, death is allowed for in the fiction and is balanced out by the cloning mechanism, which allows the loss of property but not your character's skills. In parentheses, he says, as unlike Star Citizen, your character in EVE has RPG skills that you learn. You don't have RPG skills you learn in Star Citizen, but we do know that character skills are coming, and that's probably another thing we're going to hear about at CitizenCon this year. Mark my words. So we'll see how that works out. But
then the in-game gyms are finally have a purpose.
We're back in GTA 4, baby. So yeah, this is another one of those aspects that really needs to be discussed when it comes to this Star Citizen 1.0 stuff. And it's something that's going to mess people up. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is where it was. So somebody asked, how many lives will I get? The exact number of lives, or cycles as they call them now, will be balanced as development of the game progresses. The intention is to allow multiple deaths, quote unquote, before you're properly dead. So expect to wake up in the med bay at least half a dozen times, if not more. And getting to this point won't be common unless you are participating in a lot of boarding actions or flying in areas where there is no law and order. Now, something they've also said about this, since this document, is that actually dying in this game won't happen that common. Most of the things that normally kill us right now will just send us into a down state.
Yeah, but the best way out of a down state right now is backspace.
Right. That's because the game's not done.
But even if it's done, it would mean that you're sitting in front of your screen, you have to wiggle the mouse every 10 minutes so it doesn't log out.
Right, but we don't have AI medics.
Oh, fair.
So that's another thing that they're like, okay, Star Citizen 1.0, if you get downed, you're not going to have to sit there for 15 minutes and wait for a player. There will generally be AI medics there.
15 minutes would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, depends on how much the person that's coming to get you is f***ing around, but ultimately it's like there are so many missing components, it's hard to imagine how this would work. And again, that's why we need a talk about Star Citizen 1.0 to help understand how it would work better.
Imagine the emails to support of, I got stuck in this cave in the rock and I had to kill myself.
Glitches are the big, the big problem. Because glitches are never gone.
People will ask CIG support to undo the one death date if it has such a big impact.
Okay, but then we get to the next part, which is down. Where are we? Where is it? There's a point here. Okay, so this is where then we get into this. Ship upgrades will include a variety of systems designed to increase the survivability of vehicle loss, including improved ejection systems, improved spacesuits, and personal shielding, better power plants, and various automated systems. This is why a lot of ships have escape pods on them. There will also be an upgrade system surrounding your battle damage, which I guess is your IVF score they're talking about now. If your character loses an eye or an arm and you would like a natural replacement rather than a cybernetic-looking implant, It was 2013. He got way too far with it.
Wait. If a character loses an eye,
I don't.
and then you have only half a screen.
I don't know. Additionally, there will be certain medical procedures or limb organ replacements that can increase your lifespan, effectively adding a few lives back. So that could be a big thing where, like, there could be valuable data, right? If for people who are explorers or data runners, find specific places. Maybe there's like a literal fountain of youth on some planet down in a cave where if you go there and you press the button, you get one of your cycles back.
Okay.
That's like super gamified, but that's the kind of thing that you can easily monetize as a player and sell data to people to find. Obviously, that kind of info would end up online really quickly.
Coming out in the pledge store.
God.
So it will be the one life for $100.
Shut the hell up. Don't even. People will definitely ask for a death refund. And that's kind of the battle that they have to play between how much do they make this matter to the point where people care about dying, but also how much do they still give it some leeway, because you can die from glitches, you can die from weird things happening, and ultimately people still want to be able to get involved in combat and stuff. I think making sure that you can have private instances in Arena Commander will help a lot in letting people try out more interesting gameplay without, treading on this sorts of stuff. But it's still, for making the game matter, there's just a lot of complications here.
Do you think any of this will be in Squadron?
Yeah. That's why they made it, I think.
Okay.
Well, no. I don't think you'll be able to permanently lose your character in Squadron.
Like, if you die 10 times, you have to start over from the beginning?
Funny enough, that's where, like, his whole thing about this came from old games like Pac-Man, I think he says here. Where, like, yeah, so if you read this, he talks about, I hate the current game trend in single-player games where the game autosaves every 2 seconds, and if you die, you just start a few steps earlier. This makes you a lazy and sloppy player.
No way. Now I hate Squadron as well.
Chris Roberts, 2013, putting us on blast.
I need that.
I bullied my way
never
through
finish
games
Squadron.
like Mass Effect or Gears of War, running in guns blazing, knowing if I died, I would always just respawn a few steps earlier. In Wing Commander or Privateer, you had to complete the mission to move on. So, like, the other games like this used to be like this. Like, Wing Commander was a finish the level kind of thing. There were no mid-mission saves. This created a sense of anxiety towards the end of the mission.
Great.
If you were badly damaged.
That's what we need.
Yeah, so, like, are you going to go with what you want to do as a spiritual successor to Wing Commander, or are you going to do what's kind of more normal for games right now? Mm-hmm. And then he brings up Demon Souls. He's like, I like how they handled death and reincarnation of your ghost and body, that it was consistent with the world and fiction, and because you couldn't save mid-level, clearing a level, especially after a difficult boss, was immensely satisfying. So I do think in Squadron, there will be a midpoint. He says, in Squadron 42, this is pretty easy to achieve. You need to complete the mission to move forward, and you can't save while out in space. So they might do it where if you leave the Idris, that's it until you return.
Shorten the quote and say Squadron 42 is easy to achieve.
And again, this is 11 years ago. So, like, this is why I sound like a broken record today, but this is why they need to now make a statement, a full panel, a full discussion about where this game's going to go. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, there's so many pieces of information like this out there, and some of it might be outdated. What we're reading right now might be completely thrown out, and we don't know because they haven't addressed it. So having a Star Citizen 1.0 discussion is not just about hyping up and getting people excited for whatever that's going to be next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 8 years from now. It's about setting expectations on how the game's actually going to function.
And I think once they tell us what they want to get in for 1.0, I don't think they will give us a date.
Oh,
but
God, I hope not.
If they tell us what they get in, that's a pretty good basis for figuring out how long it will take.
Yeah. Jesus Lord, though, I hope they don't say anything about, like, not even a year.
Next year.
Don't even say a year. I don't think it's less than 3 years away. But, like, don't even say that. Just let it be. Just let us know what's happening in the next year and what the long-term goal is.
But if people don't hear a date, they will assume a date, and I'm pretty sure the date they assume will be maybe a year. Except if you're on Refund Reddit, then they will expect 10 years.
Yeah.
It's also dangerous not to say anything. To don't set any expectation.
Yeah. Will you need to stop to go to work or have dinner? I mean, at least in Squadron, you can just pause. And that's why I think the difference between Squadron and Star Citizen is that in Star Citizen, you can log on and off. Before it was going to be with beds, now they've changed it. In Star Citizen, you can't.
Did I ever tell you about my pitch for that? If you want to play Star Citizen but you're at work? And you might have to play Star Citizen while you're at work?
What?
I own I have my Pioneer, it's finally in game, and then I build the space. And then there's someone at my base wants to buy my stuff. But I'm at work, so I can't play. What do I do?
What do you do?
The dude is ringing my doorbell at my base. And then my phone rings with
Oh
the
my
Star
God.
Citizen app.
Jesus, I don't want this game to follow me, okay? Like, leave me alone.
And on my phone I have a video call with a dude from in-game to me in real life. Some AI tech is transforming my facial expression into my character.
You just like outed it. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a gamer, okay? This is purely a joke. I'm not trying to shame anybody. But imagine you're like out on a first date with somebody. You're like, hold on, I'm getting a call. You pull it up and it's like a video game character talking to you. Sorry, I gotta take
seriously?
this. I gotta take care of my base, you know?
Exactly. So I will open the door for you, or like we do price negotiations, and then I go back to my conference call. Or
sorry,
date or
we're being raided. Can we put this off until tomorrow?
Or like remote turrets on your phone app.
Oy.
I want that.
I do think that like we should have things like, it would be really nice if there was a Spectrum app on the phone or something, and we could utilize personnel transport by, say, instead of using your actual character, the game creates an NPC that represents your character. They are able to function inside of the personnel transport profession. So like somebody has their Genesis Starliner and they have NPCs coming on board because they're going to transport them to another place. This is something you can do in like Elite Dangerous. That NPC represents you. So you can say, I want my player transported to this star system or this planet in order to be at that place when you log on again.
Okay.
And when you get back, you're there. Now, the problem with that is like, what if the ship gets attacked? But besides that, I think that would be really cool. Well, yeah, I guess. Just what? Defend yourself from the phone?
Exactly.
Let me whip out my stylus.
They could do that for ship transport, though. They could do that for personnel transport. I think it would be cool if that would allow for people to more easily be in the place they want to be in without spending the time, once they get into the game, getting there.
But you can also do that with non-NPCs, I guess. Like, if you have an orc, we can transfer your character to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, the scary part about that is just like, if that ship does get attacked and you lose that character, then all the stuff you had on your character is gone.
Well, but we are around.
Well,
as an orc.
Maybe I don't trust my orc.
Sure, yeah. But do you trust us less than yourself flying? That's a question.
No.
See?
No.
See?
I do not. All this is post the Nursa trailer where you literally spawn every 2 seconds to try it again. Not if you have resources that the Nursa needs to make respawns. Also, that doesn't change the fact that you could still have numbered respawns. So if you use the Nursa to respawn every 2 seconds, you run through all of those lives, and then at the end of that, you lose your character. It doesn't, like, the Nursa being involved in the game, or the way that they've changed medical beds being involved in the game, does not negate the ability for them to make death have consequences. You just are more prone to those consequences. Luna Maria, thanks for the super chat. It's always good to see you. I'm barely awake, so seeing you share a camera had me struggling for my glasses.
Hello.
No, you're just seeing double. We look alike, right? You have to be able to disconnect at will and be able to jump in at any time and resume your fun with no disadvantage. What is that? What does that mean you have to? Like, who dictates that? The Nursa will be nerfed in the future? Well, I'm not saying it'll be nerfed. I just, like, if you consider that a nerf, then everything's a nerf in this game because nothing in the game functions how it's supposed to. Right? Like, the ships that have medical beds will all be nerfed because medical gameplay is going to change in the future. Same goes for mining. Same goes for cargo haulers. The mass on where your cargo is on the ship is going to change the way your ship flies. That doesn't mean the ships are getting nerfed. This was in response to the idea of the game bleeding into real life. Oh, being able to disconnect at will. You were joking about the Nursa being nerfed? Too many ner words. Do you think the bedlog change is indicative of a walk back of these more hardcore ideas? I was sad to hear beds won't matter as much. I don't think it's necessarily walking back. I think that it is trying to make it have more... For the record, I'm also not super pleased about the bed logging, but I'm interested in seeing what they do about it. I don't necessarily think it is walking back. I think it's adding... No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the medical bed changes. Yes, I think that the bed logging change is they're trying to make it more open to players who don't want to have a specific thing to help them log out. Instead, they want it to be a buff to your character if you go to sleep in a bed, which is a good thing. Like, yes, that's good that it emphasizes the ability to have a bed, but how much does it emphasize it? You know, it's got to be a pretty big emphasis, but then you're also kind of... I feel like you can't make it too intense, but they kind of need to. There's a stretch goal.
Would be fun though. Like if someone wakes up in their ship that doesn't have a bed, sleeping on the floor, they are so stiff they can't run anymore. So no more sprinting for you for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
There is a stretch goal at 14 million. Says hibernation mode for the explorers out there. We won't, like, you guys can't read this. We will add the ability to save and resume while you are out in space. When not in combat, power down your ship, hit the bunk, and exit the game safely until you can resume your journey. So, this is a feature that they sold on the back of $14 million in funding.
Did they reach that?
Hmm?
Did they reach that?
Get out. Jesus. For the explorers, able to go and hit their bunk to log out, right? It made it feel like you were special to be somebody who had a bed and made it possible. And then they started building beds into ships to give them benefits. Like, if you look at specifically, my example would be the 100i versus the Pisces. The Pisces can carry more cargo. It has more seats for people to get in. And it's the same size ship. So what does the 100i have over the Pisces? It has a bed. It allows you to log on and off. But if they take away bed logging as a unique feature, then the only thing the 100i has over the Pisces is that it gives you a little buff for sleeping in it. And I'm pretty sure it's a more expensive ship too. So it's like they're sort of treading on these things as they start changing stuff over time. And while that's good for gameplay and the viability of the game and making sure a lot of people play the game, it also is getting away from some of these sort of hardcore aspects like you're talking about.
But the prices for ships is something that's, I'm pretty sure, not final. Neither in-game nor out-of-game.
But the 100i will be... Actually, no, I'm sorry. There's one more benefit to that ship. It has a refinery system on board.
So the refueling and atmosphere thing.
Yeah, the 100 series is basically limitless when it comes to fuel because of that. So that is another benefit. But the bed thing does kind of tread on that. And
I wonder if
prices
they
aren't
sell
final.
sleeping bags and air mattresses at some point. That gives you like half a buff.
I was thinking the first version of base building that they ever make of crafting is the ability to make a bed. That both allows people...
In my Pisces.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Because then that means anyone can log off anywhere, right? In order to do that logging off, you still have to make the decision of whether you're carrying a bed with you or carrying other things. So you kind of, it's your pros and cons of carrying a bed, and the bed logging stays.
But I see the spaceport at New Babbage full of beds everywhere.
Just sleeping bags all over the place.
It looks like airport in Atlanta when data crashes again.
Mm-hmm. You can sleep anywhere. Floor chair bed log doesn't make sense. I didn't say you can't sleep. It's just the logging on and off part. And it does make sense because technically they decide what's true for their game. All games can go as weird as they want, right? They write the rules. It all comes down to really what they want. And I have to sit with the fact that clearly they don't want beds to support bed logging alone. But I don't think there's any pre-written rule that says how they should or should not be handling it.
And they will get feedback from the community if it sucks or not.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
People love bed logging when it works in the game right now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also, then you have to think about the idea of, okay, well, if you can log on and off anywhere, does that mean that I can have 15 people log off on my Pisces and then fly my Pisces on board somebody's Idris and then have them log back on my Pisces on board their Idris?
Would be cool. But
like
the body cannot despawn anymore when you fall asleep. So the body would be safe in your own hab in your hotel because the door's locked and no one can get there. But if I just log out at a spaceport, then my body is there.
Okay, so you have the body persist.
I would hope so.
But does that body still use up oxygen? Would that still affect life support systems?
I would hope so.
Okay.
That would be cool.
That would be.
And then if someone steals my shit,
what if it used less life support systems?
Obviously,
so if you had 40 sleeping people on your ship, it's better than 40 living people, or like awake people.
We are running out of oxygen. Quick, fall asleep.
Everybody go to sleep. We'll fly back to the system. What's the point of sleeping? It's not like you can skip time like in other games since it's a live server. Buffs to the character. So they will be introducing character skills, and the sleeping aspect of the game will probably, or rather not sleeping, but rather doing the bed for sleeping will probably affect those. The Pisces bed will be occupied. Well, the Pisces doesn't have a bed.
Well, the medical one does, but it doesn't allow you to log out, does it? Medical beds at the moment?
I don't think so, no. But yeah, I guess the only way to get around it is to have the body persist all the time, or else you'd be able to clown car ships and board other ships with them.
Especially if you have a bed that you can lay down and log out of, and then your character vanishes, and the next one goes in the same bed.
Yeah, that would be the problem.
Yeah.
Because then you can have your whole org despawn on a ship and then go into somebody's ship and then all right, get back online. Or no, I'm better yet, ping them at their date. Get home, get online, we're boarding a ship.
One after one, else you have 20 people in the same bed all waking up there and glitching into each other.
Yikes. I've experienced that in 318. Heading to Thanksgiving. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the foods.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's Canada's Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Today. That's what a bed spawn location is. Once the ship's captured, there needs to be a way to pass ownership and or kill the bodies. True. I figured that at least with the bed, like a bed is a specific location that can be assigned to somebody. That's why some ships have more beds on them than others.
Wasn't there the idea that when you fall asleep, this roller comes down, signals the bed is occupied, and then obviously your body can despawn?
I think that's true on like the capital ships, yeah. You're curious if people actually love playing Star Citizen at the moment? Yeah, there are people who love playing it at the moment. I think they'll love it more as it gets better, but there are certainly people who just enjoy playing the game, yeah. Do you think they will show off personal habs at CitizenCon? That is actually another big thing that I think they need to address at their 1.0 panel. So, besides base building, one of the biggest initiatives I think they've ever talked about, or one of the ones that has the most possibilities, is building interiors. Do a little introduction of what that is here.
Point. So when we're talking about building interiors, how could we start to break that down? So right off the bat on the top, it's the rooftop spaces. So these would be the primary access points for the player. Then just below that, the maintenance spaces, these could be industrial or technical. Also, we can have residential. So residential could be entire building blocks, so it could be a proportion. Then after that, we've got commercial. So these could be shopping, it could be offices, it could be social. And then at the bottom, obviously, we've got lobbies. Now, these also could be access points for the player. For example, if you're inside Area 18, the player can get access to it there. And then lastly, we've got the underground. Now, these could be interesting as a connector space between buildings. So maybe you've gone in through one building, you go down, and it could bring you through to another part of a building. Let's start with rooftops. Now, up until now, we've largely designed...
I'll leave this playing in the background so you guys can see what's being said. But this is really, really, really important for cities and ground locations. Hey, what's up, Tree? Good to see you in chat, dude. Be interested to see if Montreal is back on building interiors since the DCs, or if they work on the underground stuff. I'm guessing that they're going to go to building interiors. It's more important than underground.
But the tech is done for them. That's a hangar tech they need.
Yeah. So this was in 2023. So the idea of building interiors is, as you'll see in the background here, first it's landing pads in other places, which we've seen a little bit in places like Lorville and ArcCorp, but they haven't been connected to actual buildings that you can go down inside of. So the next step after that would be office spaces, industrial centers like we see in distribution centers, and habs and residential areas. We've seen what the office space stuff kind of looks like with some of the buildings in Crusader, which is their version of bunkers over on the gas giant. But the habs and the apartments are like the real potential of this, right? I think both in terms of gameplay, but also monetization. They could sell apartments for real money, dude. I would so much prefer them selling that than ships, you know?
Yeah.
And
but I saw what difference it makes being here on your apartment in the high floor with a view, and if you go down 2 stories, like
I mean, how cool would it be to have just like a gigantic hab looking out on a spaceport in the city and watching actual players come and go? Yeah. That would be freaking sick. And I don't know if they'll do that because they might be instanced, but the potential of that kind of thing is absolutely nuts.
But
and
doesn't that
you
work?
Can make money that way.
The instant technology, like you can have the same space overlaying. That was a problem with
That's true. Yeah.
hangars initially because you could hear everyone.
Yeah.
So they were at the same location, just like faced at a different phase, so they couldn't see or interact with each other.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you could have the same apartment in the same location overlooking the spaceport with like 100 different players, and they all paid the $200.
And then you have nice apartments like you might find like this, right, in a place like Terra, versus these sort of like modular looking apartments that you might get in a place like ArcCorp, and those have different amounts of money, but also you're in a different location. So then you have...
You get your underground apartment in Hurston.
Hey, yeah, you know, some people like underground, okay? Keep me away from the riffraff and their spaceships, those elite spacefarers. Are any of these huge megalopolises being developed at the moment? ArcCorp is in the game. Will we have these cities in less than 2 years? Which cities? These are all existing cities. So you're seeing ArcCorp. Those would have been ArcCorp. All of this is ArcCorp. That's ArcCorp. That's ArcCorp. That's ArcCorp.
Yeah, it's interesting that they show concept art because all of this is in game already.
Yeah, this is Hurston. And you can tell by the architecture where it is. This, I don't know what this is. That looks like ArcCorp. And there's even some with like views. Yes, literally Hurston Dynamics up there. So a lot of this stuff is in game. This is more the stuff that goes into the cities that we already have. These aren't from other systems now. These are just ideas. This is literally just concept art talking about ideas. These aren't places that they're literally going to put in the game.
Didn't they talk about how you could get a companion animal like a dog as your friend at some point? Now imagine you're living in ArcCorp.
I want a space cow to follow me around so I can pet it.
But imagine your hab is an ArcCorp, and now you have to walk your space cow. So you have to put it in a spacecraft, fly it over to Microtech, let it graze for an hour and fly back. And if you don't do that once a day, it shits in your entire apartment.
Oh man! I hope if they do talk about building interiors, they talk about the rework for ArcCorp we need, because ArcCorp is the only city now that needs to be remade to support these. Lorville is good because that was the oldest one that got updated. Orison and New Babbage were built with this in mind, so those buildings are already updated for it. So ArcCorp is really the one that they need to talk about, and ArcCorp is supposed to have green areas too.
Yeah,
some vegetation and some water
for your cows.
But yeah, this is a really big part of the game because this is like these are mission spaces. These are spaces where you can meet mission givers, NPCs, important people. These are areas that, like, every game we play from Cyberpunk to Starfield to Elder Scrolls to Wukong, like anything that has Death Stranding, anything that has missions in it that are outside of the main quest or even in the main quest, you need to have places where those things take place. And the more diversity they can add that has this stuff, the better. That's why they've made things like distribution centers.
Now imagine they're like auto-generated missions you can take to clear off the cow dung from your apartment.
Good Lord. All I need is pizza delivery missions around ArcCorp. Just let me literally just take a bunch of procedural generated missions that have me flying to different buildings around this giant super what's it called? Ecumobopolis? Ecumobopolis? What's the word?
For what?
For a planet covered in city. Ecumenopolis. Ecumenopori. Ecumenopolis? Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Ecumenopolis. Okay, good lord. Just have me flying around delivering small packages and pizza to places on those planets, and that's plenty fun for a day where I don't feel like getting into something crazy.
What is the name for a planet covered in a city? Meganolopolis?
It's still gonna answer in broken Turkish.
I hope not. I turned it off, I guess.
The term you're looking for is Ecumenopolis.
Yeah.
It describes a planet entirely covered by urban development, with no wilderness or rural areas left.
Wait, why does this sound like a Star Citizen creator? Who does that sound like?
I'm pretty sure a lot of creators are just using bots to create.
No, like somebody I've had on the podcast. Who is?
You had a bot on a podcast.
Who sounds like that? Somebody not Red. I think it was. Oh crap. I can't remember. Somebody sounds a lot like that. That was a little eerie. But yeah, I think that am I having a stroke?
It did look like that.
Sorry, I was thinking about the Star Citizen release date. It made my brain go crazy. Oh, sound like Red Monster? Maybe it was Red that I'm thinking of. You sound like ChatGPT. Yo, yesterday he asked it to sound like a Turkish person speaking broken English, and it was ridiculous that it was Havoc. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was gonna say Havoc. I'm pretty sure that sounded like Havoc. Yeah. Yeah, dude. What? And that's not an insult, okay? That's not an insult. Jesus. Like this is good technology, okay? You can have an AI that sounds like Morgan Freeman for help. Like, get over it.
Isn't that a Gen Z inside? You NPC? Pretty sure.
I thought it was in Ohio.
You Ohio?
You're such an Ohio.
Okay.
Echo, are you in chat? Is that correct? Where is he?
How old is Echo?
Ohio old? I don't know. No, Echo has a kid.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, building interiors are a big one. I don't even remember why we got onto this topic now. Stream disappeared for you? Are we gone? Hello?
Click on live. You're not live.
Yeah, it's working.
No, the live button wasn't on.
Huh?
No, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah. No way you're asking Echo. What's in that goat milk? Is it special goat milk? Dude. That will send you.
The pizza thing was a second pitch I had for Chris.
Pizza delivery? Cutlass purple?
I want to go to the pizza shop online, in-game, order a pizza there, pay with in-game money, and then it deducts the money from my credit card, and Domino's drives out to me and delivers me pizza in real life.
Does it have to be Domino's?
I don't know.
Domino's here is just trash, man. They can't find our... Dude, we ordered Domino's pizza here, and the person who was delivering it, they, like, for some reason, they do not try. Okay, they don't try. They just call. This person called Honey 23 times. She's on the phone with the bank. They called her 23 freaking times.
To do what?
To ask for directions on how to get to the
but
place.
Come on. No one can find you here.
What do you mean? You used Google Maps to get here.
No,
we weren't here. We were in the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because this dude lives like James Bond, on the side of a cliff, half an hour outside any other person.
I tell you guys that we are remote.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
That's why, like, when people see the house and they're like, wow, that must have been expensive. I'm like, no, dude. You know, the expensive part is paying people to come all the way out here because it's so far.
This morning I looked out of the window and there were a herd of cows out of the window. It was amazing. Like mooing and all the bells. But it looks pretty when you look out of the window.
Yeah.
It is nice.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a nice
just
view.
like
It's very, very far.
how
out
far
here.
away is the next movie theater? Is
Like
that in
30
Istanbul?
minutes?
Oh,
30 minutes away?
It's in
Yeah,
the-
there's one in the city.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
It's closer than the nearest gas station. That's
The next airport is 2.5 hours? No, more.
4
hours.
hours,
4
yeah.
hours is the
the
airport.
airport from here is 4 hours away. So when we go back to the States, it's 4 hours to the airport, 13-hour flight, and then an hour back to my parents' house.
And it's not 4 hours on a highway. Like, it's 1 hour on a highway and the rest is on back roads with like... I drove through a tiny village. I landed in Istanbul. I was 1 hour on the highway. And I knew it was a 4-hour drive total, but after 1 hour, Google told me, okay, leave the highway now. And I was in the tiniest village ever with a bunch of like 20 old retired people sitting on the street and playing cards, which I almost killed because I didn't expect that to happen.
Yep.
But like after 1 hour of driving, still 3 hours ahead of me, I was like, where am I? And it didn't get any better after that. It was
Grandpa Day.
just 3 hours through tiniest of cities. and then
That's
then
what
in
they
your
say.
layer of James Bond stuff here at the cliffside.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
These cities aren't in systems. Like, they're not saying these are cities for different star systems. These are concept images to show the idea of building interior. It's like if they showed off outposts, they aren't showing outposts as specific locations in other star systems. They're showing outposts as a standalone feature that they are working on. If you want to know about the actual other cities they're working on for other things, come to CitizenCon, come watch here on this Saturday, and they have a panel called Beyond Pyro where they'll talk about the other star systems they're working on. But this has nothing to do with star system development. Are they planning for building interiors, or have they sidelined that part of the project? It was sidelined because the team that was working on this in Montreal did the distribution centers.
And the tech wasn't there. Like, you needed the hangar tech for that.
I mean, the tech was kind of there. They showed off a little bit of the work they were doing on this. That's not what I was looking for. What the heck? Wait, where's my building interior stuff? There we go. Whoa. See, isn't that annoying how it loads in?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like click one thing and then it jumps to somewhere else. It's very annoying.
Okay.
So this is building interior work that they were doing at one point. I don't know if there's any sound of this. This is a building in Microtech. So it kind of, you can tell it has an elevator bank, and then it has like basically the lobby of an apartment here. And then this is what a bedroom would look like.
Sure, but that's designing the play space.
Yeah. This
It's
isn't the
not-
actual tech of implementing it, yeah.
They needed the overlaying instance apartment tech,
Yeah.
and that was built for the hangars.
Here it is where like this is the part that happened before that in the same video, where you would land on the planet or up on the top of the building, you'd take an elevator down, and then you would end up in the place that I just showed you. Careful to give location data for popular streamers. I mean, we're very obscure.
Once you hit the old people, it's 3 more hours.
They have to put their foot down somewhere. A developer has to be able to say tough to players that can't be bothered by harder mechanics. Yeah, it's all their call, you know, and they have to balance how many people will be interested in a game that has hard mechanics and versus people who want a hard game. Maybe we should have someone else make these places. You'd like more than just 5 FPS? You might want to check your computer. How many FPS do you get? I was just playing and I was getting like 60 FPS in Microtech.
But you have a beast there.
That's why I'm saying he needs to check his computer.
Yeah, it would still be nice if the game would run better on
Absolutely.
older hardware.
Absolutely.
And they're working on that, absolutely. Yeah.
Like the worst part of all of it has always been that the server runs terribly.
Yeah. And then I think they can fix the CPU demand of the game by better scheduling and multiprocessor and whatnot.
Yeah, they've talked about that with their Planet Tech stuff, moving more of their CPU or the planet rendering from CPU to GPU.
Yeah, like the text.
It's like it's not necessarily the people building the game; it's the people who are making the engine that renders the game, and They did some of that last
The
year.
stuff they were showing, they wanna build into the game like a global illumination. This will be so much harder on the GPU than it already is. So this will be the bottleneck for FPS in the future. If you wanna if you want the game to look as great as it can get, then you need the 59.
Thank you very much. That's fair. Or you can build smart, realistic alternatives for those people. JD, do you know what they're doing in terms of rendering stuff? Like, have you looked at the stuff that they've talked about to help it run better on different computers? You supposedly top-of-the-line gaming laptop and SC runs like shit on planets. Bro, I don't know what to tell you. What kind of CPU do you have? What is considered the top-of-the-line CPU now?
5800 X3D.
5800 X3D? Yeah, I
Still
have that.
one of the best.
That's what I have, and the game runs better than... I mean,
And it's
I'd
old.
say...
That's like a 3-year-old CPU. But still top of the line.
Let's check it out. I'll run the game right now, and we will see if it can reach this. Oh, this is still going. We'll see what kind of frames we can get. I think I've got some data here as to what I have. 78 X3D, yeah.
Even, yeah.
So I have 32 gigs of RAM, 78 X3D, 3080 Ti, running on a SSD.
But that's 2 years old CPU, I guess. 1 to 2 years.
Yeah. It's two years, I think.
And it's cheap now, the 7800.
Really?
Because they just released a new one, which isn't even better.
Right. And they're also releasing, like, aren't they on the 50 now? 50 series of graphics cards that
Coming
at
out,
MVP?
hopefully, end of the year.
What did I do? What did I
Your
break?
game is broken.
Probably. Everything's broken on this computer. Guess that's that. That answers that. Can't even run the game. So building interiors are another thing that like really matter for 1.0. And like's being asked, the new systems. Like systems aren't necessarily just a new place to play the game. They also are factions, law systems. Like playing in Nyx is different from playing both Stanton and Terra, or Stanton and Pyro. Playing in Terra is different from playing in all three of those, because Terra is a UEE controlled system and it has higher law. Nyx is a lawless system, but it has a faction that's more reliable than Pyro, which is run by gangs. Odin is different because it's a war-torn. What the? Oh, that's right. I used my freaking live folder to run Evo, so I don't have live anymore. Okay, let's play it in PTU and see what that does. That might be even more painful.
What you said was feeling different. That's something I found interesting from what the Evo players reported on playing the Jump Point tech demo.
Mm-hmm.
Being in Pyro felt different, not even because of gameplay, but because of how the sky box was colored, how the music was. Like they said, it had an intrinsic different feeling, like a creepy, eerie one compared to Stanton, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like if they can make star systems feel like different games, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think the systems offer them a good chance to make things feel different. Besides, I mean, obviously with that kind of stuff, but also besides just the visible stuff. PTU is broken. I was having a pretty bad time in PTU earlier today, actually. So I don't know how it'll run. I was like, the game basically had crashed for me at one point. It was working for Cass, but for me it wasn't even moving around. Back up your screenshot folder. I don't even know about screenshots. Yeah, we're going to talk about Squadron 42. Right now we're talking about Star Citizen 1.0 though. So the probably last part of all of that would be most important would be the missing professions we have. Things like data running, exploration, personnel transport, and the like. They have to try and lay out how exactly those things are going to factor into the game that is both convincing and not entirely like what frames are we getting right now? convincing, but also realistic for a 1.0 launch, which is in the next few years.
50 FPS? 50,
Yeah, so we're doing close to 60 FPS.
30 to
Drop it
60,
down to about
yeah.
30 right now, and we look outside.
What's the resolution is that?
This is 1440.
Nice, nice. That's
2560 by 1440.
And you
I don't
GPU?
3080 Ti.
3080 Ti? That's like the top gamer hardware
Top gamer.
from like 2 years ago.
Yeah. What time is it for you right now? 7:30 maybe? I don't know. 8? 8 o'clock. No, I'm not in 4K. 2560, 1440. So yeah, I mean, like, we're in the middle of the city right now, and
Even on PTU, which is usually performs worse.
Wow.
the frames aren't the best. Obviously, we're dropping down to 30 frames, but on a system that was top of the line 2 years ago, like, the game runs okay. I don't know why people are getting 5 frames per second on their computers. I would make sure it's plugged into a SSD and not a hard drive. I'm on a 3080 Ti right now. I'm streaming on a different computer, so that helps.
It's too tiny. Your circle is too tiny.
There's that new global event that's going on.
Capsule now approaching station.
I thought I just crashed for a second.
Passengers. Capsule now.
You have 20 frames per second with a 4090 and a 12900K. I don't know. People say it doesn't run well on Intel, so maybe that's why. I don't know why your game is not running very well.
But there are also settings like if you put clouds to photo mode, then you get 5 frames. Per
Honestly,
second.
that doesn't drop my FPS very much.
Seriously.
Yeah, I don't know why.
If you're in space, then it wouldn't. But if you're
No, on planets.
Damn.
When I'm maybe 5 to 10 frames.
I tried that on my PC at home, and it crashed the entire PC because it overheated the graphics card.
I was yeah, like, I'll turn it on right now. Oh, it is on photo mode.
Seriously?
Yeah, I guess I just keep it on photo
And you
mode.
get how many frames?
Right now we're at 50.
No way. Okay, put it out of photo mode. That's impressive. Okay.
Let's change it to very high.
Can you guys distract Tomato and I steal his GPU?
Now we're at 60.
You're locked at 60. It won't go higher than 60. It's a monitor.
Probably V-Sync's on.
Monitor refresh rate is 60. So you could go much higher than that.
Perhaps.
Damn.
We can see. I'm running with DLSS too.
Oh, okay.
So we turn
It
off
does.
V-Sync, and yeah, we're hitting 90 frames. I don't know why the game's running so
100.
bad for some folks.
100 frames.
Whoa! I know why that's happening. Alright, we're back down into the 70s here. But this is also something that they can talk about when it comes to 1.0 is like, what kind of optimizations will they have? What's the target hardware they're aiming for? Is it always going to be high-end stuff, or are they going to make it so that you can run this average? We're hitting triple-digit frames now. I'm just looking at a door, so it doesn't really mean much, but...
What's your DLSS setting? Quality.
it's on performance right now.
Performance.
Yeah.
But then it renders at much lower resolution internally.
I run at 60 hertz because I get screen tearing. Like, I just want to keep V-Sync on so I don't see that kind of stuff. I don't need super high frames, to be honest.
Yeah, competitive like combat on foot doesn't work anyways properly. That you need like 240 frames or something.
There we go. So looking outside, yeah, I'm still getting about 50 frames.
And that's in photo mode? No, you dropped that down.
No, I dropped it down.
All
Alright, let's talk about Squadron. Squadron 42, I'm going to go ahead and do a little fly over the city for the sake of it. But Squadron 42 is Also, a very important part of this weekend, like Squadron kind of defines, I think, when Squadron launches, it's the first game the studio's ever made.
Wait, but it's not on the program, so how can it be important for the weekend?
You're right. They probably won't talk about Squadron 42. Like, why would they ever bring that up?
Pretty sure it's cancelled at this point.
Oh, hey. Okay. I can go back to their hangars.
Serious? Do that.
I don't wanna.
Come on.
But also, that elevator's not working. I don't think I can run G-Sync. I feel like it just allows V-Sync in this game right now.
No, that's a hardware thing. If you turn on G-Sync and your monitor supports it.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
have to set
So you
that
don't
up
have to do it in game. I got you. I wonder if I have it running then. I guess not if it's not locked up there. I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor. So, Squadron 42 is super important because it is going to be the first game this studio ever releases. It's going to be everything that this game, Star Citizen, I mean, is judged on. It's going to be kind of a big media moment for this. Scam. And it also is, like, honestly, it's kind of the scam of Star Citizen. Like, it's taken most of the money. It doesn't get shown or talked about. It's the actual game that's missed its release date by 8 years now. And, it's been advertised a ton. Well, kind of. Not really, but kind of.
With no proper excuse like Star Citizen has. Like Star Citizen, feature creep, now you can land everywhere on a planet, whatnot. Obviously that takes way longer to develop. But the scope of Squadron, we never heard about feature creep there. They're not talking about much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, that's, and it's also important because, like, we get to see how their writing is. We get to see how their character interactions are. We get to understand, like, how they build missions that actually are supposed to, you know, launch in the game instead of these contract things they do in Star Citizen. It's like kind of lifting the curtain on what this studio can do. And it also, if it's successful, will drive Star Citizen's development forward so much. Yeah. Like, they would be able to more reliably pay devs. They can't really offer the highest wages in the industry, which I think locks them out from getting more specialized people. A lot of folks give Yogi crap, and for as much as I love Yogi and the work that he does and the passion that he clearly has for his job, he wasn't a physics and flight focused person as a developer.
Don't they have over $500 million? Shouldn't they be able to pay whoever they want?
The people who worked on the flight model before have gone to other projects, or their work itself wasn't really set up for what they wanted to do with Star Citizen. So he took over when nobody else could, which is, thank God, because we needed development on the flight model. But it's situations like that they end up getting into when they can't properly pay industry professionals for the roles that those industry professionals are looking for. And if something like Squadron 42 is a success, they are less hampered for money, which I know for a lot of people sounds like crazy talk, but they are less hampered for money, and they're able to put people in positions and build up their teams more in places. Like, the ship team has a lot of backlog work they need to go in. What if they're able to buy, or not buy, but pay more people who are doing ship work in order to be able to get more of those backlog ships into the game? Like, Squadron 42 could make the big difference of what actually launches in 1.0 of Star Citizen.
It's such a unique situation, because usually if you have a game studio, the game studio spend all the money and they want to recoup it and keeps a profit. They already have gotten all the money to develop Squadron, so everything they get on top of that with selling more copies is like pure like profit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why they, you know, open their studios. That's why they have talked about hiring a bunch more people. There's quite a few different things I think they did with the expectation that Squadron would be successful. So we will see what happens there.
What was a game from Sony recently? They thought it will be successful as well, and then they removed it from the servers
Concord.
2 days later.
Concord, yeah. Yeah, they put a lot of money into that.
Yeah.
And imagine if that was a game that was in open development that people could play a live version of in the meantime. How much better would that game have launched? Yeah, now we're dropping.
Why?
Moving really fast. This actually looks similar to what was happening to me in the PTU earlier today.
Yeah, that's really bad actually.
We're down into the 30s in terms of FPS.
But there's also stutter a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, see, when we slow down our movement, it starts to go back up.
Did they fix a compass? Nice.
Current FPS reading is it was in the 40s and 30s. Now it's back up into the 50s, and obviously now that I'm facing inside 60s.
What's their cloud settings right now? High?
High, very high. But I am hitching, possibly because of processor. Let me see. No, CPU is doing okay. Fairly high, but
Yeah, something isn't right. Might be PTU.
could be cockpit view. So yeah, outside of the cockpit, but looking at the same thing, we are doing around 60 frames. So it could have been the cockpit, could have been the MFDs, could be a PTU thing.
Zeus isn't finished. Might be Zeus. Eternals, something. Oh, you're cold, my man.
I live in the cold.
That's CitizenCon temperatures right there.
So yeah, there might be some more stuff they need to do for this before they push it live. But they probably won't care. Push it live. Sales of Squadron 42 revenue will compensate the money spent in keeping up live service for how many years when other games would have spent it for pure development? Well, and also how many more years? I think that running the game has been a huge detriment to the development of the game. But also, obviously, it's helped them keep the funding coming in, because then people can buy the ships that they can actually fly, and like it's a give and a take, a pro and a con.
So what's your estimate? When will we get Squadron?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. That's hard to tell. I don't really pay much attention to the monthly reports on them. But for
The last one was
Squadron,
empty.
yeah, they're holding a lot back in terms of their messaging. I think that Squadron, I could see next summer. Like, if what they said last year is true, and they were actually starting to polish things last year, then I could see like a year and a half of that phase to 2 years. So like half two of next year, I could understand, but that depends on how much they really were into it at that time.
But that would mean marketing will start with the CitizenCon.
I think that
Big
marketing
time.
will start with the CitizenCon. I think that the redacted section of CitizenCon this year is the beginning of their marketing push for Squadron.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Is it? Dude, what else can they do? Like they showed off held the line trailer last year. They need to put something out there. They've got freaking investments due. Like they got things to do, all right? Granted, they also would want to have Star Citizen in a good place if they launch Squadron 42. Because Squadron 42 is the biggest
So they wait
advertisement.
until 1-0.
No. They just need to have more support for players. And that might not even happen within a year. But I think it's the biggest advertisement for Star Citizen they'll ever get. And obviously this game will get a lot more people looking at it when they launch Squadron. So they kind of...
Other question. Will Squadron hit Steam?
Could.
Or will they stick to their own website and launcher?
I think they will, at least at first.
Okay.
I could see it going to Steam at some point in the future, both Steam and console.
And then
If not Squadron, at least Arena Commander.
Xbox or PlayStation?
Both.
Both?
Cross-platform, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't they?
Usually it's like an exclusive deal, and then 5 years
Maybe like a
later-
temporary exclusive
Okay.
thing, type of thing. Xbox is probably easier for them to develop for, but if they did make it for Xbox, then they'd also have to make sure it runs on like a Series S.
Okay. Oh, and what about the Arena Commander thing that never happened? Which was
Theaters of
one-
War?
Yes.
I think that kind of stuff is just going to be factored into Arena Commander overall.
Okay.
I don't think they'll launch a Theaters of War. I think they'll make Arena Commander modes that support that kind of stuff.
Okay.
No way for Squadron next year? Why no way? I'm not saying it will happen next year, but I wouldn't say there's no way it will either. I think it's definitely up in the air.
Own performance will definitely be better. It's a single player game.
In Squadron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Oh, on Steam. The market is big on Steam, but I'm sure there are some really good benefits to sticking to your own engine or your own
Well,
platform
yeah. What is
in their
it?
development.
30% more money?
Yeah. It's probably why they didn't go with something like Unreal Engine 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
Cross-server data replication with server meshing will cost a lot. Do you think we will have subscription to pay for the Amazon Web Services? I think the optional subscriptions will continue. I don't think there will be a mandatory one.
That would be an impressive feat if they can pull that off. If
What?
they can keep live services paid for by selling ships and selling cosmetics, selling voluntary subscriptions.
Cosmetics, apartments,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff I think could be
that would be
big.
really cool. Especially if they move to a point where they're only selling optional things that you don't need for gameplay. So it's completely voluntary. It's
Mhm.
not a pay-to-win situation. Everybody can play the game basically after buying in for free without any downsides to it, except for not having a nice view on the spaceport.
Yeah, that's the thing is like make sure that the money stays away from gameplay stuff.
Yeah.
So what kind of game is Squadron? I think is kind of important for if you don't really know if you're going to be interested in it or not. It's not like an open world explorer kind of game. Like you're playing, you're a military person, so you're kind of locked into a specific military campaign. But I do think that with the way that they've started to develop some of the locations, so if we go back to what they were showing us, I don't know what's going to be on this browser when I open it. Oh, good thing it's opening over here. Oh, look, more Star Citizen stuff.
Oh my god.
And good thing I waited to close the game before opening this. So if you go back to,
Your computer is not happy.
no, it's not. See, Chrome lags more than Star Citizen for me.
And it's basically
If you go back to not CitizenCon. This is kind of funny,
What
actually.
happens there? What is that?
Somebody typed in !hype
Okay.
on Twitch, and it goes off the freaking rails.
Nice.
Briefing room, a good old, oh, we're gonna start a ship series to keep you updated. Look at this. Briefing room, episode 1, guys. Here's the briefing room, episode 1. We only got one episode. They very, very quickly stopped doing this. But this goes over kind of the
When was it?
2021, I think. This is when they didn't do 2020.
yeah.
This is when they skipped CitizenCon and they just kind of released a couple videos.
For no reason.
And they spent a lot of time, Tyrus, looking over one of the locations for Squadron 42, showing what goes into a location, what kind of options you have there.
That was about the space station that folded
Yeah.
out like a flower thing.
Asiato.
Yeah.
Wonder if they put any, I think they put like a nice fly around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this space
that's
station
so
is a
cool.
location in the game, in Squadron 42.
It's like an antenna or observatory or something.
Yeah, this is like one of their oldest space stations, supposedly. And, yeah, it's a comms relay, thank you. And the way they show this off kind of gives the idea that this game will play something like... I mean, you guys remember the second level of Halo Combat Evolved? It was like you got multiple objectives and you got to complete them how you wanted in a kind of an open environment. Or maybe something like Outer Worlds, or even Starfield, really. You basically are able to transport yourself to a new location. In this way, it would probably be on the Idris. And as you get to that location, you can take your ship, fly off of your carrier, and go complete other side missions, or take on mainline missions, which would probably take place here. And you can tackle them as you want, as long as you're getting them done. I believe that is how Wing Commander was made also. And generally the idea here is that you have the freedom of movement using your spaceship and your own sort of agency, but you still need to follow the story of the game. And I'm seeing that Aroka gifted 10 community subs on Twitch. I'm so sorry I missed that. Thank you so much if you're still in chat. Thank you for gifting those out. My apologies.
Where do you even see?
Right here. There's a lot to look at. It's it's a lot.
I got a call. Sorry, I have to take that.
Okay.
Simon, hello. Hi. Hi, you missed me. I'm in Turkey now. I could try to...
So, the idea behind all of these places is that you can basically you would be able to go to a place, kind of see it, do different things around that area, and explore a little bit on a smaller scale. Hey, Argakig. Thank you for the Prime sub, appreciate you. Anybody with Amazon Prime can throw down a Prime sub on Twitch to support. We appreciate that a ton. Sticks it to Jeff Bezos. Stops that space station from being built. This is in Odin, I believe. Squadron 42 takes place in Odin and Vega. Just a little bit in Vega, mostly in Odin. So... Argakig, cool. So, the idea behind Squadron isn't for open world people. Squadron's gonna be like an interactive movie. I think that's the best way to put it. It's basically, imagine a game like, I've heard it kind of compared to Uncharted. I think something like Hellblade would be a little bit like it. Possibly Death Stranding. Death Stranding is actually a really good one because I think Chris Roberts is very much like Hideo Kojima in terms of how much he likes to do cinematics and set up a cinematic game and stuff. You can kind of see that in the presentations that they do. Yeah, the old Wing Commander type of gameplay. Did they build Odin in its entirety so they can easily just drop it into the PU after Squadron 42? Assets, yes. The planets, perhaps. The space around it, the coil, for instance, is going to be a big part of it. But ultimately, there's a lot more to a star system for the PU than there is for the Squadron 42. Because one of the things that makes Squadron 42 a lot easier for them to make also, and a lot more beautiful to play in, is that a lot of the stuff in this game is going to be made like traditional games, where it is... everything is made to happen when you see it, you know? So like in Star Citizen, it's really difficult because it all has to work systemically. If you crash your ship into an outpost, those NPCs need to be ready to react to you and run or fight you or something. In Squadron 42, the outpost you're crashing into was probably planned. Maybe it's not all the time, but a lot of the time the place you're going to is planned to be that place.
But the planets are open world, I would assume.
I think that areas of the planets will be. Because imagine you
can't fly wherever you want on the planet?
I don't know. This is the kind of thing that maybe we'll learn about at this CitizenCon, but I'm just saying, like, imagine if you were on this military expedition and you just flew off out of nowhere to the other side of the planet.
Ruin your reputation. might be demoted or sent in.
Oh, God, what are they gonna factor in all of the different complications of being demoted into the game? What is this, an immersive sim? We playing Deus Ex in space now?
Oh, what else would happen if you fly off? You just, the game ends, you respawn, you have to try again if you leave your path? Because you're flying a spaceship.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there will be something that if you just fly off in a random direction.
Yeah.
You don't think they'll do like a game over kind of thing?
I don't know. Because they have the tech, which is impressive. No other game would allow you to do that because it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But the number one thing you can expect from this game is that it will be cinematic. I don't know if it's going to have an amazing story. I don't know if it will have amazing acting. At least we know that. They've got a great cast. But writing, gameplay obviously is still kind of a thing that we need to look out for. And the story is something that is in question. Presentation, I don't think they're going to have a single problem with that. Nostalgia, the ability to grab people who are just looking for a really beautiful experience, that's the kind of stuff I think this game will sell on, at least initially. And if it has a good story and good gameplay, then I think this has the potential to be one of the better games releasing that year.
And then also tech like, it's not cutscenes. It's not pre-rendered.
Yeah.
You can tap out of any cutscene and just walk around.
Do you think they're still going to do that? Because they originally were talking about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They were even telling us that when there's someone on a screen in a cutscene, that's a real NPC in a different room in front of a camera, and they're like beaming that rendering over to the display in the other room.
The rendered to texture.
Yeah.
But that was in the old vertical slice. They didn't really mention that in the I Held the Line stuff. Right, so if we go back to the old vertical slice of Squadron 42. The only thing we really have to go off of when it comes to the writing is what we've seen from these demos they've done. And I don't think that's bad, what they've shown us so far.
I was merely informing you of
that
my
could just be
intent
good deliveries, though.
courtesy. While your involvement is welcomed and strongly encouraged, it is entirely optional.
And they didn't
Our involvement
show that in the most recent video?
These OMCs
No, I really hope that
you
they give us
space
this look
until the
again.
threat
Like
is
they
neutralized.
redo this vertical
Stanton will be
slice
remaining
with the new
at
game. I think that would be
and
incredible
we
to
will be
compare.
assisting in rescue operations.
You're not listening, Captain.
It's impressive how outdated that looks.
Human
compared to
interstellars
what
are
they
very
showed
important
last year.
company.
Yeah.
This is coming with many, many connections. I'm sure that High Command's gonna be very disappointed to hear this overprotective thuggery.
Well, I look forward to hearing from them. Thank you for your time, Mr. Wexler. Well, you were right, Colton. That man is a complete ass.
Chris Roberts isn't writing this one.
Why protest?
This one's written by
Well, you'd be surprised.
oh man, I can't
Well, these
remember.
distant
They've
stations
got a
seem
pretty
protected
robust
in
team. There's
various
like
games
3
as
main
a
writers on
constant
Squadron, I
business.
believe. 3 or 4.
Wexler knows that with us here, we'll be forcing a fight. That means unknown risks.
And I believe it's been
Which brings
rewritten
us
at
back to
least
the mission
down
at
to the
hand.
detail.
Care to join us, Lieutenant?
Even since this, like the major beats are still there, but they've done some rewriting
And
of
they
the
hired
smaller
additional
segments.
actors as well
Oh
to
yeah.
play smaller roles.
So this is the part where they kind of talked about. In fact, we can go to the part where they have the commentary, so they can talk about it themselves. Oops, that's really loud. Sorry.
People will put things in front of.
This part here.
You've seen how they fly.
So again, just little bits that jump out at me while we watch this. Right, we're going to improve some of the hair. We're going to improve some eye convergence.
Dave Haddock,
definitely
yeah.
in these.
Yeah, and there was an animation hitching there. I mean, a lot of this stuff we've gotten the stuff in because it's sort of the proof of concept vertical slice, but a lot of the dialing in, the subtleties of it, we haven't had the time to do yet. Of course, we will be doing. And here, I mean, we know what's happening, so and the playthrough, we're kind of waiting for the Argo to come in, but that's all happening live in the game, and then we're taking over and if you went back to your point of view, you would see this playing out from the point of view up where you were in the sort of ready room.
For me, so that's kind of what he's explaining here, that basically you can break out of the cutscene and walk around and experience this, but how much freedom would there be there if, like, could you just walk in the middle of this scene and they would react to you, or there's so many things that can happen in a game that allows you to do something like that.
This is one of the best examples of why having all the faces at the level that we have, all the characters at the level we have, all the performances at the level we have really, really makes a difference to the game. Because this is you get real invested in this cutscene. You can see some subtle emotions that are really, really hard.
I don't think it's being rendered because if you look,
you would come in, but
you can see the ship in the
live
background
the game,
there.
and then
But maybe they
we're taking
cut that
and
off
if you went
and
back
then
to your
render
point
it.
of view, you would see this playing out from the point of view up where you were in the sort of ready room.
For me,
in the
this is
new
one of the
demo,
best
they
examples
show a cutscene basically playing from your perspective as well. So there's at least enough going on where they don't really cut to a different type of rendering for the cutscenes, but I don't know if it's live.
That are really, really hard to communicate from a game character, for example, being in charge but scared at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can see these guys are hauling these guys out. The first, it's pretty easy, and then they start to get a little bit nervous and these kind of things.
But yeah, I mean,
you can even see it on their faces. Like to be able to read a face like that is a tricky thing in most games.
No, I've never been on one of these. It's nice. Not as nice as a Bengal, but nice.
Move it! Oh, come on, clear out!
Yeah, it was actually fun to shoot this on the day. Wasn't it, Dave?
OMC's gonna have to teach you screw tops some manners. Are you looking to start trouble?
Yeah, maybe a couple eye darts in there, and that would be good. It's close. It's so close.
And he actually popped around a bunch.
Great
He appeared as a bunch of different characters.
Yeah, he's a great theatre actor in the UK, and we have some other fun smaller
And then
roles
here
that he
comes
had.
the big guy. We got to make the Argo kind of come up just a tiny bit.
Well, he's big in real life too. So.
Yeah.
Ain't like we're gonna be
Maybe
here
6'6" or something.
Ain't like they're gonna be here long either. What the hell are you all going on about?
It's very simple. We're OMC. And OMC belongs to CitizenCon. And CitizenCon doesn't like people messing with his things, you got me?
CitizenCon? Is that your boss? Are we supposed to be scared of him or something?
Yeah.
You know this guy from a British soap?
Run up to the halls.
And he plays such a tough guy in that movie too, or in that show.
I don't want to move them through the ship until we have.
See again, just the subtle emotion, right?
So then you jump forward to like this version of it, right? This is what, 6 years later now. The stuff they're working on, and you can get a better idea of how the quality is.
So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today. Good luck. Push about.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Well, let's get into position.
Again, just a very cinematic presentation. I think like people who love like Battlestar Galactica will also love this just for the shots that are like this in the game. This stuff just looks good.
Throughout the polish phase, our team is taking every opportunity to push things to the next level.
Tell me you're expecting company.
This is not good.
The Cine team is focused on finalizing edit lock on all of our big action as well as all smaller character sequences.
I could have pulled this off of the Galactopedia.
Yeah, probably, but I think their solar mass calculations are wrong, though.
Well, this is ridiculous.
How so?
We are now able to adjust our shot composition to final cameras thanks to recently crafted
Yeah, I think
space
Star Wars
vistas
people will like
and
it too.
level
Mark
outlining
Hamill's going to have a
content
ton of a hand in the marketing of this game. Isn't it freaking crazy how much, like, excitement his name commands?
Yes.
Like, it's nuts.
Or not at all. Like, I know people who have no idea who he is.
Yeah. I'm blown away by how much his name carries just because of Star Wars. Now, obviously, he didn't just do Star Wars. People also know him very well for, like, the Joker and for some of his other roles. But, like, the amount of just pure excitement people have for just Mark Hamill in general from his inclusion in Star Wars and as Luke Skywalker is crazy. You want to see what Henry Cavill's going to be doing? There are a couple shots of Henry Cavill. None of them are really easy to identify him. There's this one. He's supposedly in this Hornet here. I believe that's either him or his wingmate. It might be in this one.
Come back, Gary.
So I think that's her that just said, "Come back, Krugeri," and he's over here maybe. And then there's another.
Cutscenes, or is this also rendered live?
Oh, I'm sure it's being played in the game. Like it's not. Like I'm betting that exists in the game world, kind of thing. And then there's one more shot of him. This one shows up real briefly here. That's him. So he's only shown up like very, very briefly, and I think that's on purpose, kind of, because that's just another chance for them to show him off.
Originally, I thought this will be my character, and there's no way to customize my character.
Oh. That would suck.
Yeah.
I like that there's character customization.
We will
like
win!
More of your best buddy character.
Because we have to.
I don't think so. He looks like, so the guy, this guy that we just saw there is
Toes.
Wow, where is he? He's in here somewhere. Should be like right here.
Out of. Shut up. Now, I hadn't seen.
That's him.
Okay.
So he's in the crew of, look at the freaking, like, I don't know who this is, but he's clearly a big deal. But you got like Mark Strong over here. You got Mark Hamill over here. It's just stupid. Yeah, same guy talking about the John Holler.
Wasn't trying to kill me in days, let alone a hauler, let alone a Jean.
Or a Jean.
Imagine my surprise.
A Jean.
Detailed lighting passes can be done on hero sequences so we can show our cast and convey their emotions in the best light.
Like, who's this? What freaking AA actor do you have in the background over here that's just filling glasses? They just, it's so much.
Sure.
But obviously a big draw to this game is going to be the presentation of it. And I think it's like, I would love for this game to be very good. That, don't get me wrong. If this game had a great story and great gameplay, it would be amazing. But I do think that no matter what happens, as long as it's not a buggy mess, this game will pull people in just because of the presentation, because of the people involved. As long as it's decent. Because it's also, there's not many games that follow this sort of style right now. Like cinematic space operas, the last really, really good one we got was Mass Effect. I don't know if...
It's a new one?
No, Mass Effect, the trilogy.
Okay.
I think Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, I hear, was actually a pretty good space game. But in terms of space games, most of the time we're getting like RPGs. I think Starfield was kind of going for a more kind of cinematic approach than something like Outer Worlds, but ultimately we just don't get very many games like this, and I think a lot of people would just like to play a space game.
Alien Isolation.
That was a good one. That one's scary. So like,
there's a new one coming. They just got greenlit.
Right? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's really exciting. There's a lot of people out there waiting for this to fail. Fail is subjective. I don't know what fail is. I could see it failing though. Well, right after saying I don't know what a fail is.
It already succeeded. It was fully financed. They got their money's worth.
Yeah, I think a success for this game would be covering the studio costs that they've incurred over the last few years. The one of the most hyped scenes in this game could probably be the Titan suit.
Oh.
because I always think back, whenever I think of the Titan suit, I think back to Halo 4. They had this segment that had you get into a mech and fight your way through, I think, a downed spaceship, which was like kind of cool, but it wasn't super epic. And I'm thinking, if there's anything CIG can do with something like that, it is going to be making it like really epic. That's gonna be the Titan suit is gonna be pretty sick. There's a Titan scene in Squadron. I can't imagine there's not. I'm pretty sure that's what they're making it for. Yeah, so if you do a search, it looks like there was a mention of it in March monthly report. The Squadron 42 monthly report of March 2023 stated that CIG has been working on its animation features and 3D rigging.
Nothing's happening there.
Oy. Why? Why do you do this? I hate tech problems, man. Being developed for Squadron, chances are high it'll be merged into the main branch. So yeah, I mean, this is possibly coming to Star Citizen, but it's definitely going to be in Squadron, and this could be a very cool part of the game too.
And by how what's the name of the suit you can get with the tractor beams?
The Atlas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be based on the same chassis.
It works very well. Like the translation of your movement from the character into there, like that's cool.
Yeah. Techno, you don't want to be a pro one. Nah, dude, we're good to see you in chat. What's up? Dressed to kill. Do you think the Titan suit is the old friend from CitizenCons? I don't think I've ever seen it at CitizenCon though. We've never seen anything polished from CIG. That's the exciting and both terrifying part.
Yep.
I really, really want them to put out this game and have it be actually a smooth experience. Obviously, it'll have bugs. Everything has bugs. But especially now, like if this released in 2020, I remember they said it was going into beta in 2020 and that didn't freaking happen at all. If this had released in 2020, the reception to it would be so much different than it releasing now, because we've had so many examples of bad releases.
Fair.
And also we've had different takes on space games that have shown that space games are a little harder to make than people expected at this point in development. Like, there are still space games coming out that play kind of like Mass Effect 3 from 13 years ago. And I think that could be a huge opportunity for CIG to be like, all right, we've cooked at this, and I don't think it'll ever live up to the hype that 14 years of development will produce. But like, we've cooked at this, and we think you're gonna like it because it offers an experience that you can't really find on the market right now. It does it in really pretty ways, and it has some pretty cool faces in it. Aaliyah and Jotun, thank you for the sub. 39 months subbed is a haluva time. We appreciate you. When I say we, I mean...
Yes, I appreciate.
You've heard people mention it's the guy that does the Top Gear style videos at CitizenCon. That was what I might have thought, but he's usually a Intergalactic Aerospace Expo guy, not really a CitizenCon guy, so I don't know.
Also, polishing Squadron is something they can do on their own without the massive support of the community, because they don't need 1,000 players in a server to find the bugs.
Yeah.
So I don't think there will be an Evocati and a PTU for
Oh god,
Squadron.
no. They're just going to have their QA people run through it 14,000 times.
They would love that.
Hopefully that works. Here's the other part where they mention kind of how cutscenes will work.
In the best light possible.
Pose.
And we're making sure our cinematics are triggering as fluid as we can craft them, so they form a coherent concerto with the rest of the player's narrative experience.
So you can kind of see where the camera switched from perspective to cutscene. Right there. There was like a little bit of a hitch. Did the lighting change? No, he just turned his head. Right there. So they're working on making it feel seamless going from gameplay to cutscene. I don't know if that means they're still sticking to the idea that you can play through the cutscenes or not. Ruzi, thank you for the sub as well. Bezos bucks to use. Appreciate you. Thanks for the Prime subs. 2 months in a row now. He's a homie.
So they form a coherent concerto with the rest of the player's narrative experience.
Mr. Wexler, this is Lieutenant Commander Colton.
Oh, Commander, hey. Julian Wexler. I'm the field manager of this little operation.
Say, pull my finger.
Welcome aboard the Archon. What brings the Navy to this little corner?
I don't know, Jaybird. Why?
We got you flying with Lieutenant Commander Colton. He's one of our best.
Dude, weren't we talking about Easter eggs?
Yeah.
We were talking about the potential for Easter eggs in this game, and I was saying, how cool would it be if there was a ship in the game that this dude flies on that's called Sir Davos? Like, that kind of stuff could just... People would lose their crap for that kind of stuff.
Or like Scully is in game.
Mm-hmm.
And having her office show like I want to believe poster in the background or something.
Like a something from the show on her shelf in the background of it.
Yeah.
Love the number of, oh, it's that guy actors. Yeah. Is that woman Chris's wife? I don't know.
Oh,
I know she's in the game.
That would be fun. Is she?
Yeah, she's an actress in the game.
Nice.
The Onion Knight. Call his ship the Onion Knight.
As others will share, this is the most rewarding chapter of development.
I think she's still doing
which
her
allows
acting
us to
stuff.
truly experience the visceral and oftentimes emotional moments that our narrative provides.
How did you handle it after Vega?
I'm not sure I handled anything.
Oh, is that Rona Mitra? Okay. I need to know what she's from because people keep saying her name. Oh, that did look like her. That's definitely her.
Huh.
Shooter. Oh, Underworld. Okay. Shooter. Beowulf. Can't say I know many of these other ones. Spartacus.
No.
Yeah, I don't know many movies that she's from.
UK actress, not Hollywood.
Looks like she's mainly known for her Underworld stuff.
Underworld was good though. Oh, is she the main actress of Underworld?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Known for her roles as Sonja in Underworld Rise of the Lycans and Major Rachel Dalton on the second and third seasons of Strike Back. Yeah, that looks like her in that scene. Probably easy enough to look up what...
Colton. He's one of our best.
As others will share, this is the most rewarding chapter of development, which allows us to truly
Yeah, that definitely looks like her. Squadron 42. Executive Officer Kelly. Yeah, I would say it probably makes sense that he's an executive if he's a captain, right?
Look at the lighting work. See the rank insignia.
Is this executive officer right here, guys? Does anybody know? Oh, it's over here. She got 3 chevrons and something above it.
Experience.
But see how the light reflects on those. It's like there's so much detail in these scenes.
Yeah.
Lighting looks impressive.
Any idea when we get bounty hunting Zeus? I have no idea.
But at least we got the loner Zeus now for everyone who got the bounty hunter one.
Yeah.
Not the Cutlass Cutlass Blue anymore.
Yeah.
Change that.
This is Lieutenant Commander right here? Okay, so... Well, Executive Officer, is that even a role or is that like a... Yeah, I don't know. Either way. Who cares?
Visceral and oftentimes emotional moments that our narrative provides.
How did
She's
you
a deck
handle
officer.
it after Vega?
I'm not sure I handled anything.
Oh, it's a role, not a rank.
It helps to remember
Gotcha.
that stuff like this is supposed to hurt.
Vice captain of the
I've
ship.
never been good at dealing
Right,
with
yeah, that's
problems
right. They say XO. You have the bridge. Right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that
yeah.
in things. So that definitely makes sense then if she's standing right next to the captain. Okay, confirmed.
Can't fix.
Is that set before?
Well, this
Star
is one
Citizen?
that you don't have to do
This?
alone.
Timeline?
Yeah. This is set before the Polaris is made.
It's good to know.
So I think this takes place around 2948, I believe, or so. 2948, 2946.
For the animation teams, polish phase means refining the social aspects of Squadron 42 that occur between the various missions and getting the behaviors
The bald guy is
implemented.
second to Admiral Bishop. So those are different ships. Sir Davos has his own ship, and I guess she is the second in command there. And then Mark Strong is second in command to Commissioner Gordon. This is how I'm going to refer to everything in Squadron. Just going to name their characters instead of their actors.
Across all of its chapters. Here we're dialing in the hangar to make it as immersive and believable an experience as possible.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that'll be in Star Citizen, the ground refueling. I'm guessing it will, right? This would probably just use the rope tech that they've been developing, because you can have refueling in space on other refueling ports, and you can have this refueling on the bottom.
It takes forever to put boxes in your spaceship. But now imagine you want to refuel and repair, and in order to refuel, you have to go out, find the hose, then drag it behind you.
Well, you could do both. 2 refueling ports. One for on the ship when you're in flight, and then one for like this. But
yeah, but still, you have to drag the tube and like.
Or you could just go in your Mobi-Glass and say, "I want to be refueled,"
okay.
And an NPC
then
does it.
Comes.
Yeah. Rope tech is a stupid term. I've actually heard other studios use that. Naughty Dog talked about their own rope tech.
But it's star rope.
Sexy Cinnabons. Here he is.
For example, we're launching off a space carrier, but we still ground the feel in real-world actions, refueling, repairing, and inspecting, and making sure that your next flight mission is a success.
This means we're looking out for pops, hiccups, or awkward transitions, and ensuring that everything flows and looks like all the great mocap performances.
I think the biggest thing is going to be just like trying not to get swept up in the hype during the presentation of Squadron. They're really good at this. They've gotten so much. They used to not be great at this. Like last year was a huge step up from their previous presentations for this stuff, and I am like, I know it's going to happen in the moment, and I apologize ahead of time to everybody. I promise I will come back with more realistic takes and like real normal-brained conversation surrounding this stuff. But when it's happening live this weekend, and they're talking and they're showing like Squadron 42 stuff, I'm gonna try my hardest. All right, I'm gonna have space nerd brain. It's gonna be pickled all over the place. It's gonna be rough.
Imagine they don't show anything except for a date.
Dude, imagine if they said answer the call. I'd just smash my computer. I would throw my computer into my monitor and just never come back. Holy crap.
Brilliant.
Ooh, food time. All right. With that being said, I will give you guys something to go check out after this stream. I made this video last year. It shows a lot of the scenes that we've just been looking at compared between... Oh, did that thing again.
You shouldn't send your passwords to the entire chat.
Why does it do that, man? So this is basically a comparison view of a bunch of different parts of the different demos. So you have 2017 here, 2023 here. And it does it for a bunch of different scenes. I think one of my favorites is this. The difference between launching out of the hangar looks so much better in the new version.
Let's go ahead and cliff.
But last year I released this after CitizenCon just to kind of compare how the game has progressed, at least in terms of looks and a little bit in terms of like facial animations and stuff. So if you want to check that out, I will drop that in chat for you for after this stream goes.
That's not even global illumination yet.
No. No, it's not. Hello, France.
Ready and hold on as you're launched off.
I'm excited for the food time.
How do you keep track of all these
Here.
messages?
It's not easy. That's why I get lost so much when I'm chatting on stream. I just like jump back and forth between. The hard part is trying to figure out how to change your conversations from one thing to another when the messages are coming through. You're buying it purely for the bagpipes? All right, we'll sign off on the bagpipes. I hope you guys all got some information from this. And maybe it spurred some more thought for you. I hope that you enjoyed this and got something good from it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Say thanks to Lord Skippy, everybody. Gasoline Moth, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Appreciate you a bunch. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
Oh, we can pick someone to raid?
Yeah.
Let's find someone who's tiny.
Oh, we can draw him with Void Dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Void Dude just moved to the UK. So drop in there. Give him a big like and subscribe. Tell him hi. Tell him the Toast sent you. Toast? The Toast sent you. And I will, I'll see you guys all on Wednesday. Skippy will probably be here. We'll do a cooking stream that day as well, so that should be good fun.
Nice.
And the days continue towards CitizenCon. I look forward to joining you guys this weekend to talk more about this stuff and judge the heck out of the convention. Go hug someone you love. Give somebody you love a hug. Eat something you love, of course. Do something you love. Treat yourselves well. This is going to kick in too soon. Treat yourselves well. And, yeah, just be good to yourselves. We'll see you on Wednesday. Love you all. No, he's moved there permanently. Go ask him yourself. He'll have things to say. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I know I just wrote you, but a couple of hours ago, proximity sensors on the other side
of the jump got twigged.